Eons ago, during the age of the Magi, the world was something other. Magic is all that there was and all that was needed. Legend states that a cataclysmic event brought a great frozen age to the world of Lacrin, and soon after, a new era dawned. Though they say the ancient magics of the Magi still lie buried and lost, scattered around the world, lie in wait for those with the courage to wield it to discover. Welcome to the world of Lacrin and the continent of Thelmecia. Noble knights, roaming orcs, mischievous goblins, and idyllic wondrous lands, just waiting to be explored. Now, a new peril aspires to plunge Thelmecia into despair once more, but not before a few unheard-of heroes take their chance at triumph. Welcome to Tablestory, Darkfire.
Hello, welcome to the stream, everybody.
That's what I'm upset about. The sun keeps fucking going away, and it makes me have to adjust the camera.
Tell us all about it.
No.
What's up, homies? Welcome back to Darkfire.
Yay!
I'm your host, John Sandman.
It's John
Brad is
Sandman.
stepping down from DM today.
I'm stepping down
I
from
give
the whole
everyone inspiration, so congratulations,
Yay!
guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
And
Appreciate it.
you know, before we start though, Brad has something very important announcement.
Brad, you didn't tweet this.
Yes, I did.
Oh, you did. Tablestory didn't. Okay.
No.
Sorry. I'm
Listen, do you
just
know
trying to
how much
retweet a
effort
thing.
it is to log into Tablestory for me? I don't use TweetDeck. Okay.
Sorry.
I spent half my life trying to get away from Twitter. All right, what's happening, everyone? I expect Whack to do it. Okay, that's what he was hired to do. Was he
What?
half-assing his way through
You
this?
specifically
I see how
told
it
me to
is.
stay off social media.
That's true. You sent some of the worst tweets I've ever seen. All right, we're now hiring for social media expert at Tablestory. You will be paid.
That'd be amazing.
You will be paid in Instagram
Ruples.
pictures of John Sandman. He will give you
got so many.
private access to his public Twitter.
Yeah.
I mean,
a lot of
Instagram.
dogs.
You don't have a
Ruff, ruff.
dog. You have a dog?
What? I got 2 dogs.
You do?
They don't live here though. They live in my parents' house. So I guess they're not really
Your
mine. They're
parents
my
have
parents'
dogs then. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Well, like-
love how you walked yourself through that just now.
Yeah. And I guess I don't have dogs.
Welcome
Fuck.
to the stream,
dog.
everybody. We have a wonderful show in store for you today. I don't know if that's true. I'm just going to say that.
Improv.
It's all improv.
Might suck.
There's no platformer tab.
It'll probably be good. We'll just have to see about that. We also have an announcement, don't we, Pumpkinberry?
Yeah, we do.
Pumpkinberry's got my back. She's just backing me up on that particular.
Yeah, I am. Wait, are you gonna play the thing first?
You want me to play it right now?
Yeah.
Play it right now.
You want an
Play the
announcement?
thing.
Wait, I want
Yeah.
to watch it though.
Who wants an announcement? Put some
Chat, say I do, please.
put I do's in the
Link
chat.
announcement chat. Can we?
I do. Will
Alright.
you marry me, chat? Let's see if I get. Did I do it in time?
No, they're just saying play it instead. So
I do. Look at that.
I do.
Guys, stop it.
who did you get
Stop
married
it.
to first? Shay. Yeah, that's good. Shay's cool. All right. Here's your announcement. I'm going to play the announcement and not say
Thank
it
you.
because I'm
Biggest
terrible.
bait ever. There's no announcement. Ha
Biggest
ha.
bait ever. Tables to bait in the chat. Okay. Enjoy the announcement starting now. Whoa, that's creepy.
That's hype.
Oh, it's so creepy. All right, whack Steven first.
Yeah, if you guys like the idea of having PB as a DM on here and us doing sort of these out-of-the-box kind of shows where we have small run shows, that is correct. PB will be the GM here. So get pretty hype about that. If you guys like that idea, I'm just saying that is a Patreon goal right now. This is kind of like a sneak peek at something that we can do here on Tablestory. I'm just saying we're only $200 away from that goal on Patreon. If you guys want to make that shit happen permanently,
there we go. There we go.
Damn.
So
Okay,
this is,
wait. I have questions.
All right.
Yes.
Well, the first one is this a Halloween special? Yes, it is.
Yes, it
We're in
is.
October. So we, PB suggested, she said, wouldn't it be great if you, Brad, Whack, and Jay, BradWOTO, all played in a game together? And then she said, I'm going to run a scary Halloween special. And all three of us are in it. As well as your friend, Mr. Giggles.
Yes, that's right.
That's her, right?
That is amazing. That is so cool.
Yeah.
That gave me like American Horror Story vibes.
If
the
you
weird
want-
thing is, we don't know anything about it, right? The players.
Yeah,
like the
nothing.
only thing we know
Yeah.
is that we're in it and it's scary.
Do you
and
know
that's it.
characters? Your characters?
Nothing.
They're playing themselves.
Oh, we are? See, this is
Yep,
how little I know
you
about
are.
it. Like, this is...
It takes place in Toronto. You're playing yourselves.
Holy
I've
shit,
always
this
wanted
is-
to go
I'm
to
hyped for this.
Toronto.
When does this start? October 13th?
Yes. Yep.
Let's
And
go.
If you want, John, I would love it if you actually like took this test and gave me a result. Actually, anybody can do that. Do we
Yeah.
have a Discord channel, Whack, for the show?
we do have a Discord channel for the show. It's
Awesome.
the peculiar channel that says, "Are we just making these up now?"
Perfect.
What is this psychological
You
cognitive
can't take it right now. You can't take it right now. You gotta
No,
take
I
it later.
won't.
But
That's
yeah.
so cool.
If
Okay.
you guys take it, let me know what your results are, and I may or may not use you in the show.
Oh my God.
I could take it, but you'll have to remind me.
Okay.
That is awesome.
PB came to us and was like, here's this link, do this test. And it was the weirdest thing. It doesn't tell you anything at the end. It just says, here is your...
It tells me something.
It tells you something, but it just goes, here is your result. And we sent that to PB, and that's the only thing I've done for this in terms of prep. Me personally. That's all I did. I did that, and now
Well, we're making our
this.
characters on Wednesday. Well, you're rolling yourself.
Brad, are we doing a spooky episode?
You're doing one right now today. Welcome to Darkfire,
Yes.
everybody.
Thank you. Sorry for derailing that for a minute. Thank you.
2nd of October, Darkfire Halloween special is happening today. That's what's up. Let me see if I've got some spooky music. Did I load up any spooky? Because I believe it or not, this wasn't the plan. Here you go. What's this? This is my old spooky music. Yes. Yes. Welcome to the Darkfire Halloween special. As of right now, it begins. A little bit, maybe. Who knows? First of all,
Wait, you're not doing this right now. Stop. You're going into a hole, man. You're just digging.
I'm so bad. I don't know why I am a DM or running any shows at all.
I was like, wait, is he done with this joke? This has lasted like 3 minutes.
The problem is, like, I realized immediately that it was just a spoiler joke. So
You kept going. It wasn't like, haha, I got you guys. You had the music still
it'll
going.
be funny when you come back and watch this episode for the second time. Whoever watches episode second time,
We
you're
still
insane.
haven't spent as much time doing the trailer and everything as Brad normally rambles in the beginning of the show. Just an FYI.
Yeah, well, we're
I
beginning
love-
the
we're
episode
not
right
late.
now. We're beginning right now. We're beginning right now. Shut up. Normal episode. Maybe we'll do a spooky one. When does Halloween fall this month? Is it?
The 31st.
That's on our Wednesday. We'll be playing the Stooge.
The 30th.
The Three Stooges Gate.
Can we do the 30th?
We'll see. I don't know. We'll see where you are. Okay, where you want me to just fucking be like, oh, there's a werewolf on your back
did
all
you
of a
just-
sudden on the 30th.
I don't know. A little side mission.
Yeah, we'll see.
Did you just write my friend out of the story? Out of
Me?
the cast? I think
Who?
you did.
When?
Mr. Giggles. You were like, we're going to play the Three Stooges Gate. What?
You just said her name wrong yourself.
Mr. Giggles. No.
Mr. Giggles.
It's me, Jay,
Yeah.
Mr. Giggles.
Yeah.
That's it, right?
Pardon.
Yeah.
Come
Wow,
on.
You got whacked good
Come
there,
on.
buddy.
Hilarious. Brad, how can you do this? My birthday is in 2 days.
I
Don't
don't
you-
Whoa.
care. I don't care when
Yeah.
your birthday is. You think I give a
Should we
damn?
sing now?
Are you
What?
doing anything for your birthday?
I'm old. I don't do anything anymore. What's wrong with you?
All right, I'm taking
Whack-
you out.
Whack
Where
is
do you
like-
live? We're flying out. Where do you live?
Whack is like 58 in 2 days, guys. It's
He's
ridiculous.
turning 68. Dude, that's
58.
dope. Man.
Wow.
58.
58. Oh, you're young, man. You're so
He's very
spry.
young. Everybody go and say your happy birthdays to Whack on your own time. We don't do it here. This is my stream. Okay? If you
Happy
celebrate
birthday, Whack.
if you celebrate your birthday over the age of 7 years old, you're a dork. Okay? Grow up, get a job.
You're a whale's penis? That doesn't even make sense.
There you go. All right. Well, happy birthday, Whack. Have inspiration. Don't you already have inspiration? Who has inspiration in this group right now?
You
Someone
don't give
does.
out inspiration.
I've given
Yeah,
out
you're
2.
Pretty mean.
It gave me one. I can't remember what it was for
I've
though.
given out 2, which is 2 in total in my entire DMing career, I'm sure. But I'm pretty sure I've
I
given
have
out
some.
2.
You gave me inspiration
No,
for.
I don't have inspiration now.
I'm sure I've
Easy
given
going
out.
DM.
I'm sure I've been giving out inspiration in this campaign. I've been really trying and thinking about it, but I do very, 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 very quickly forget. Anyway, all right, let's begin the actual game. Chapter
Yes.
9.
Now I'm questioning if you ever gave it to me because I don't have a little dragon in my inspiration thing. But I swear.
I'm sure 2 of you do. Or
Yeah, but if you forget, you lose it.
if you
remember?
forget, you lose it. That's the rule.
Oh no, then I definitely have it. I remember exactly.
Then I suddenly have it for sure and remember precisely when it happened.
I never even I had inspiration as poo poo for like almost 5 months and I just forgot about it.
I don't know. DM question out there, little DMs, little baby baba DMs. Do you give inspiration out? Because I just forget about it straight away. Anyone that plays 5e, I forget about it all the time. So I say baba DMs because that's what I still think of myself as like a scrub noob DM. Really, I'm not, but I still think of it because I'm so bad. See, I can't even play the game. Shut up.
Talking. Brad's fully talking
Last
to himself.
time you came to the burned village of Drit, you came back to that first village that you went to, which was exploded in purple fire and then ransacked by a bunch of mercenaries, bandit types, and then you escaped. You managed to work your way out of the gate of fire down a mountainside and back to that village. You got there and it was just destroyed, basically. Like, there's nothing left. It's burned to a crisp. There was even some areas where that purple fire was still burning. Apparently, it cannot be put out, is what they said. There was only a handful of survivors. Apparently, even the survivors that were found, most of them have died still and are still dying. Some of them are still dying. There was a handful of people that you noticed in the town. They seemed to be army types. You met Captain Gregorin Stonesworn, who, along with a handful of his men, were dealing with the survivors of the town and trying to work out kind of what had happened. They had put together a pretty good idea of what had happened in the town, that the town was hit on one side during the changing of the guard, and then the whole place was hit by this huge, ridiculously powerful spell. He said that he was searching for orcs in the northern forest a little whiles before the town was hit, but they noticed it, saw it, and headed back. He said he had a platoon of 25 men in total, men including women. I'm just saying men because I'm an absolute disgusting human being.
A pig, really.
I am a goddamn pig. I don't know what to say anymore, and I've given up. So he had a platoon of 25 men and women.
Dude and dudettes, bro.
A platoon of 25 dudettes.
Yeah!
Six rangers, 4 scouts, 10 fighters, 3 clerics, and 2 page boys. Yeah, they came to the town to find it destroyed. They also didn't find any of these mercenaries. They found a couple of dead bodies of them, presumably including the ones that you felled yourselves. And you guys kind of offered your help in general, sort of, with the clerics, but they were kind of done. There was a couple of injured people the clerics were tending to. You didn't trust them. You were like super paranoid in this town with these people, and you decided to help a little bit in the sense of going and collecting some water for them, because their page boys were taking their sweet time. You went to the river. You found empty buckets, not empty buckets, but discarded buckets. And on a very high perception check, Rin heard a soft crying of a woman nearby. Freaked you all out. You ran back to town. You informed the good captain, and the captain decided to go out looking for the missing page boys. You guys then started to follow. He grabbed 2 of his men, I think, and they headed out. And you guys are kind of joining them to sort of figure out what has happened to these 2 page boys, just out of the goodness of your hearts.
I just want
Very
everyone
proud
to
of
know
you.
I'm against this plan.
Yeah, you can
I just want everyone to know I'm really for this plan.
Cool.
We're usually on the same page, but I just want, since you let everyone know that, I just want to.
So, we return once again to the burned village of Drit. You all are headed back out towards that river. Do you want me to give you a map or anything? Let's give you. I'll remind you guys.
Oh shit! I'm not.
Where you guys are. It's on this map. Blap. While this loads in. There we go. You guys are in this village. But you're on the outskirts. There's this river that you can see pretty clearly on this map here that runs along the eastern side. It takes about 10 minutes to walk there. You 4 join Captain Stonesworn. He's an armored-looking, relatively stern man, but he's only in his 30s, like mid to late 30s. And 2 of his men. They're all armored types, though you have met one of their ranger scouts who was young Ranger McKinnon. She had like leathers on and some slightly different uniform. They each have an emblem of a rose on their uniforms somewhere. These guys are like big armored dudes, sort of knightly looking, but a little less like, not quite like the full plate armor that you would expect to like a knight in shining armor, classic fantasy looking knight to look like. They're more like chainmail, but they do have greaves and gauntlets on their hands and stuff. Armored well, long swords, shields. But they look like they are designed to be a little more dexterous than your typical knight. They do look similar. Heavily armored. They head out. Captain Stonesworn, I can't remember whose names you got there, but I think he mentioned that his right-hand man, that kind of Zangief-looking guy, the much larger, slightly older-looking guy, was known as M-Stride. And then a third fighter of his are heading towards the river. They kind of just, they move on their own, and they move swiftly, but they're not running. And they're a little ahead of you, I would imagine. They probably aren't regarding you directly on this brief 10-minute walk back towards the river where you told them that you found these discarded buckets. They look like they're more interested in their own conversation. And they very quickly and immediately start to discuss amongst themselves a sort of plan of action or what they think is going on ahead of you. Are you guys doing anything on this short walk back to where you were headed to?
I think I'm overly cautious of everything that's happening right now, considering how suspicious it looked by the lake.
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably definitely keeping my eye out for sure.
I'm considering leaving you idiots behind, but I'm not gonna. I'll just begrudgingly walk along.
If you want to make active perception checks, you may, to keep an eye out
Yes.
around you if that's what you want to do.
Yes.
Feel free to roll those up.
Yeah, I'm just
Anyone
cleaning
who's
off
looking
like my I'm a little bloody. I'm still a little beat up from our fight earlier, so
Okay.
I'm not like feeling the greatest, but just taking out some teeth.
Yeah, you have
Whatever.
only just kind of defeated a
Patches.
like a couple of hours ago. You beat the living hecker out of a very large mountain cat. Though you have rested in that
22
time and then headed in.
22 from 19 and a crit from Rin.
All high, all above 20. 21 Iridir, 22 19, and a 25 natural 20 from Rin. I'm taking this for like the 10 minutes that you're heading towards the river, because I'm giving you the 10 minutes before you get there kind of thing. But you're hyper vigilant. You guys are.
Rolls are incredible.
You guys are paranoid and crazy as you head towards the towards the river, while the captain and his men are discussing. I mean, on these perceptions, you can hear everything that they're saying ahead of you. They're sort of discussing what they think is going on. They're absolutely convinced that either the invading force, the Company of Masks, is returning for some reason, unbeknownst to them. Either that, or they're about to get hit by the orcs that they were looking for. They know that there's an orc problem in the area. This orc group known as the Blood Nectar keep hitting towns and hitting supply lines and things like that, carts and on the main road. So they're convinced that that's what's happened here, that that the orcs are potentially taking advantage of this town, which has been hit and hurt. They probably don't realize that the town has been completely destroyed and there's nothing left. So you can hear them discussing like their plan, like what they're going to do if this is a huge orc force. Like if there's any more than just a handful of orcs, they're going to be in a lot of trouble trying to get the people out of town. They're basically saying that they're going to retreat as opposed to engage. Either way, whether it's the Company of Masks or the orcs, that seems to be what they think is going on, and that's what they're heading towards the river talking about. The rest of you are looking around. There's nothing.
Brad, can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
Now, like when we're walking and stuff, can I sort of ready in action? So like if, say we rolled up and these people jumped out of a bush, I could do something first and then I roll for my turn order, or no?
Technically, no, because a readied action is like a thing that you do in combat. But
okay.
I think it's fair enough that if you want to sort of set like that kind of a vague prerequisite, then you can.
Yeah, I mean, I just sort of wanted. Here's what I wanted to do. You can tell me if I just want like my potion of healing sort of ready, just because I'm pretty low. If we do get jumped out on and like I know we're gonna engage in a big fight, I want to be able to chug that before I go in.
Chug it, yeah. Well, the way it technically works is that if you guys jump on the hostile creature, say there's a cat that jumps at you again, if you get it first, then you get a surprise round on it. If it jumps on you first, then it gets a surprise round on you.
Okay, cool.
There's not really much of a ready action thing. Cool. You have the option to put the surprise condition on a creature, kind of thing.
That's good enough.
You have 10 minutes to drink that potion in, though, if you just want to do it now. But that's up to you. So, in terms of more directly what you guys see and hear that's not the army dudes in front of you, you see the tree line ahead of you. There's these farms at first, and you guys are hyper-vigilantly looking around. For the majority of this 10-minute walk, it's actually quite open land. Because there's farms on either side of you, like flat, now burned crop farms. And because of that open land, you can see there's nothing there. There's no like invading force, there's no horrific monstrosity, there's no demonic thing leaping out of the ground. You see nothing, you hear nothing. I would say though, as you guys near the river, and you'll know when you're approaching the river because there's the bridge. The northern side of the river, it's not really too well displayed on this map. This map isn't exactly perfectly to scale. The woods, these northern woods, push in. So the northern side of this road has a little denser foliage, so maybe you're a little more concerned with that. You can also hear the river, and you can see the bridge where you left the buckets and you were previously. I think all of you on the brief breeze can hear the sound of a crying woman as you come closer. Rin, I would say like almost as soon as it's probably as you get to the bridge. For the record, once you get to the bridge, nothing crazy happens, nothing's going on. You just get to the bridge, the army dudes get to the bridge, and you can all hear this. And it is very brief, and it's almost like as the breeze passes, you catch the sound on the breeze of what sounds like a crying woman, just softly sobbing. Rin, you can for sure determine that it's coming from north, like from the north, like up river. And you can hear it relatively clearly, maybe a little clearer than the others for some reason. Like you legit have like the elven ears going on in this campaign for some reason, and your ears are pricking up. and you're able to pick up on the fact that for sure there's a woman nearby. Sounds like she's north of where the river is, just sobbing and crying. It's relatively continual. I'm gonna roll real quick for these dudes as well. I'm just gonna see, because if you guys can all hear it, maybe they can all hear it. Nope.
Watch, it's not some crazy like witch siren lady. It's actually just a woman who's crying. And I'm like, no, let's not go.
2 sixes,
It's awful.
2 sixes and a 1 from the army dude. So they arrive and like maybe they're just a few steps ahead of you, and they find the buckets. The Zangief looking dude, M Stride, strides forward, picks up a bucket, looks around, and throws it back down pretty roughly, and begins to kind of look about the area. You see there's another guy with you guys who's a little younger looking, the third fighter, and he turns to the captain and says, Captain, perhaps we should have brought McKinnon. She would be able to track wherever, and he looks a little, I think he probably looks a little more like you guys, a little more paranoid, a little more afraid. The captain himself kind of just silences him very quickly and starts to scan the horizon. He looks like he's like obsessed with the horizon line, like he's waiting for an invading force to suddenly hit. And he kind of just rubs his chin and looks about and says, I'm not sure what to do now. I suppose we'll have to split up. Perhaps we can utilize these hunters. And he turns back to you guys. Any of you experienced in tracking? If you're hunters, perhaps you could help us out here.
I look at the rest of them and I say, so what exactly is your problem?
You're saying that to the other players?
No, I'm saying it to this person came up to the guards or to us?
Oh no, he turned to you guys. Yeah, the other guards just look like they're kind of a little stumped as to what to do. They've all failed their perception checks right now. Is essentially what's happening. They massively badly failed.
So they can't find the river?
No, they can find the river. They were looking for any other clues. When you guys first came here, you kind of did a quick scan with a basic perception check, and they've just done the same thing, except they don't even see the bucket that's further down the stream.
Do you hear that woman crying?
The captain kind of stops for a second and then looks across the others. Is that some sort of idiom, a saying?
No. It sounds like a literal woman crying.
Let's give him another.
To the north.
I want to
Sure
perceive
point.
this too, because I wasn't looking either, so I'm going to see if I hear
Give
it.
me a perception check.
Do I hear it?
You do not hear it, and neither does the captain. He kind of hits his ears and says, "A woman crying, you say? Well, your ears are probably much better than mine."
I don't hear it either.
Well, did you say to the north?
Rin did.
I did. Yeah, I did.
He looks up towards the north and says, "A woman crying, you say?
That's right.
I suppose."
Sobbing. Wailing.
All right. Perhaps we should head that way. He looks back to you and says, "You should all stay here. Keep an eye out. If the page boys return, then look after them. Perhaps take them back to town. I have my men waiting there."
I'm unsure if that's a good idea.
That sounds like a great idea.
I'm sorry.
Well, if we stay here, then why are we here?
Exactly. Why did we even come if we don't assist?
Well,
That's a great question, Eero.
he...
Why did we even come down here?
The captain kind of like...
To help them.
He points towards the woods and says, "My men and I have experience with these woods. They're a little odd at times. There are terrible things in there. I'm sure
What
you're..."
sort of terrible things?
He looks to the younger fighter and says, and like this guy just kind of like steps forward and says, "Oh, we saw a lion-headed creature, tail of a snake. Horrible thing. It could fly." "Yes, Yes, there are some horrible creatures. They're very strong, very powerful, and the further into the woods that we traveled, the more powerful they became. I wouldn't want to put you in harm's way.
I really, really appreciate that.
We can take care of ourselves, and we can help you. That's why we came out here.
I don't doubt it, but, well, I suppose if you'd like to help. He looks back to the M-Stride, and he just gives him a nod. If you'd like to help, then we'll take the help, but of course, if you'd like to stay, he looks towards Rin, then be our guest.
If we are not going to go, I say we start walking while we have daylight to head to the city.
No, we need to help them. Right?
Well, are we going, and I look at Rin, or are we staying?
I was outvoted last time. You all wanted to come and help.
And have we helped yet? Precisely. And I just start like
exactly
walking.
Where to go.
Just start walking, like just leading the way.
I don't think it's good to be idle about the thought process of walking towards a woman crying, though.
The larger form of M-Stride for possibly the first time actually addresses you, Drift, and says, you'll want to be careful. We've seen some things, terrible things, and, well, a woman crying doesn't settle right with me. If you wouldn't mind, let us lead the way, boy.
Oh, right after you.
He starts to stride ahead. The captain says,
I think you mean he starts to M-Stride ahead, Brad.
He starts to M-Stride ahead. That's why I keep saying it. The captain turns and says, if you'll join us, then do so. If not, please stay here. And he turns around and Terran clicks at the younger looking fighter, and he starts to follow. And the three of them head off, I presume with Drift.
I mean, no. I'll wait for the crew.
Okay. They start moving north.
Are we going?
Hands on swords, kind of.
The potential for a drink is starting to sound very appealing. I don't know if we'll be able to help them.
4 strong, independent, amazing people not able to help those 3? I don't get it.
It's not about helping Drift, it's about our safety.
Our safety. Wait, are you feeling scared right now?
No. I'll answer that for you. He's not. You're not. Are you scared?
Yes, of course I am.
Wait, Hero, you're
What
scared?
you said? Some creature with a lion's head and a snake's tail? You're not scared of that? Are you insane?
Imagination can be pretty powerful when you're scared.
Well, I'll admit it, I'm very scared. Why wouldn't I say if I was? That seems a bit silly.
Wait, but 19, are you scared?
No. It's not about being scared. It's about being smart.
Can you feel fear?
Learning, I guess.
Listen, I'll do whatever.
Look, I think that Rin has a point. She said that if we are to follow blindly to this woman crying in the forest, then we would be fools. And of course, Rin is very smart.
I just think that we have a goal. We have a mission that is greater than a couple of young page boys. We have to save the world.
How loud do you say that?
Well,
Can I
just
answer that
we're just
question?
talking to us. It's not like I'm shouting it. If somebody overhears, they overhear it. But
If the captain would hear you say that, just out of curiosity.
The captain and the other two are getting away from you now. They're moving along the riverside. They're following the river up and away from you. They're probably out of earshot by now, though. They're definitely moving.
All right, this is our last chance. Are we going with them or not? Because if not, I mean, they're probably gonna die without us, probably, realistically.
Would you rather die with them or without them?
I don't care how I die. I don't want to die. We're not gonna die.
I think it's up to two choices. We're either going with them, or if we're not, we should use the daylight we have to start taking the King's Road to the city.
An excellent sentiment, 19. I agree fully.
Then which will we do?
To the city.
Rock, paper, scissors.
What is that?
Do you have those things in your pockets? I don't understand.
No, it's a game. Have you guys have never played rock, paper, scissors?
No. Is now the time for games?
Yes. Are you kidding me? Rock, paper, scissors. It's simple. Here's rock, here's paper, here's scissors. I'm going 1v1 against you. This is to go or to leave. Who am I going against?
I am not letting a simple game choose where I do and go.
It's okay. Well, I want to go. I want to help them. So it's 2-1. 19, you're the deciding factor.
Wait, how am I the deciding factor?
Because it's 2 for their side and 1 for our side. So if you tie it, tie goes to rock, paper, scissors. We're coming.
Can I, real quick, Brad? Can I roll a check to
rock, parchment, sheets.
No, not that. Can I? You know how earlier they were talking about tracking and stuff. Can I roll a track? Can I roll something to kind of? I guess I got the perception check, but would it be something I could roll to just kind of see if there's any tracks to anything? If there just looks like there was anything here that would be out of the normal or anything along those lines to maybe kind of push my opinion in one way or the other, whether I would go with them or not. Like,
you mean
maybe
the continuously weeping woman isn't swaying you one way or the other?
I mean, the continuously weeping
woman. Of the woods that I would know or anything like that you would think I would know of.
You know already that you're okay at tracking. You know what. You're trained in tracking for some reason. Like, you don't remember why you're trained in it necessarily, but you know that you're trained in tracking. You know exactly what to look for. Whether you see it and stuff is obviously up to the dice roll, but you know how to do it. A quick glance would only be a brief thing. So yeah, unless you want to do like a full check, give me a survival check just as a little glance around. 7. You look about. The only real clues as to anything happening here is that there were buckets. You can very easily make out the tracks of the 3 soldiers that just left. They're all wearing like big greaves, so they're leaving like mud prints in the riverbank nearby or towards the north. You don't see any other real tracks. The area that you're standing on has been pretty muddied. You guys have all been stood on it and stuff. Yeah, if anything happened to these kids, who knows? You don't really see anything that gives you any inkling either way. You also know that if it's like impossible to track things through water as well, so for all you know, they went up and down the stream itself. Like, walking up the stream is a good way to cover your own tracks. So yeah, you don't see anything else either. No like broken obvious things. There's other ways to track things other than footprints. But in general, there's nothing like obvious that gives it away. Maybe spending a little longer here would give you some ideas, but just as a quick glance, nothing.
I have one more question for you before we go back to RP, Brad. 19 bends down and picks up a handful of sand and drops it to see which way the wind's blowing. Which way is the wind blowing, Brad?
I think I already said this last week, and I want to say that it was blowing east.
I'm pretty sure you said that
because
too.
the smoke of the town was blowing away from you when you came into town from the kind of west.
Oh, it's blowing towards the city, like towards the main city.
It's blowing
east.
Right? Yeah, Roseguard is east. Yeah.
Okay. Well, there are 2 parts of me. There is the part of me that feels like it's right to help these men, and it could benefit us in the future.
It's a good part. That's a good part.
the benefit of the future is that, well, we become maybe a little more revered with these men in this company.
Who cares about that? There are 5 men in some small town in the middle of nowhere.
If you would let me finish, I would express to you why I feel that way. I feel that way because it could be a duty for us to help them. And becoming revered with them could help us in the future and, well, as you said, to saving the world. Or we could walk to the town, do as we had planned in the first place, and forget that we were ever here. And then potentially, we never see that captain again. I have no problem walking away from this situation. But to a degree, the only real cons to going with them is if we run into something we can't handle. Other than that, it is all pros if we go with them. Getting them on our side for anything in the future could be very good for us, if we were to live through it, if there is anything up there. The pros to going to the city is that it's a safe bet. If we go to the city, we won't have to worry about anything like that. And I understand your sentiment, Rin, but you must also understand we don't all think like you. We also have to understand that our futures of what we need to do, and he pulls up his arm with the bracelet on it, we may need allies in the future.
I'm gonna stop you there. I'm here, aren't I?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You guys said you wanted to go, so I followed you. I could have left you, but I didn't.
Yes, to the river. I never heard we were going to go into traversing into any woods. I'm weighing the pros and the cons to you all, so you can make a better decision than just, I don't want to go because I'm scared or worried, or because you want to go because you're young and potentially naive. I think we need to be smart about this and think about how good it could be for us if we help them, but also how much easier it would be if we just walked away.
So, I'm going to play devil's advocate here. If we walked away, we have to go on the King's Road, which he said wasn't very safe. So I'm just, why
We'd
not
be riding with the caravan, actually, of survivors.
Oh.
We'd be riding with them.
Well, it's probably at least a 3 days walk, too. A lot can happen in 3 days.
I do know that I'm a bit exhausted after our encounter with that beast.
That is my other concern.
Yes, I don't really have it in me to do anything extraordinary today. I need a bit of a rest.
What about you, Drift and Rin? How do you feel?
I don't feel great, but I feel like we need to cover their backs. I feel like they're allies that we will need. And I don't know. It's just something inside of me says to follow them.
I've said my piece. I'm not changing my vote. I'll go with you if I'm outvoted, but my vote stays. I think we should leave.
Rock, paper, scissors. Whoa. What was that?
Well, 19, as Drift has stated, what would you like to do?
Yes, what would I like to do?
You're the one that seems to have experience with the people from Rosegard, and, well, you would know best.
Rosegard could be a very good ally in our future. Going with them, keeping them alive, if anything does happen, would benefit us.
Oh, for Hasmo's sake, let's go. We're going. We're going now. We're going.
Yes.
I refuse to deliberate about this any longer. I'm changing my vote. Can we just go?
Yep.
We're going. Walk this way, or they're going to go away from us and get slaughtered by the hag by themselves. Let's go.
Whoa. Let's go. We got this.
I look Eero up and down. When I look him up and down, can you give me a 1 out of 10 with how your character would probably look to me?
I think it's a combination of not like intense fear, but like slight fear, and I'm not hiding it, so I doubt Brad will make you roll an insight check here. And probably like a little bit of worry. That's kind of what's coming across right now.
How about this? Looks over the group. We go.
I was already running forward.
We go. But if something seems like we need to get out,
we're
get
out. I'm in.
All right.
You know what I'm saying when I say that. If we show up in a beast that's bigger than all of us with a tail of a snake shows up.
I was just considering the possibility of a comfortable bed and a drink of wine, perhaps some bacon.
Oh, and tea.
What does bacon taste like?
Oh, I want Rin tea.
Well, it's hard to convey if you don't have some sort of point of reference. 19.
Well, if we're going, we better catch up. But
yeah.
You're not. I understand that you want to go, but I also understand that you're not looking like you're feeling very well.
When are we ever feeling very well? And I take off down the path. I just start running. Just like a nice brisk jog.
There isn't really a path.
Coming!
But you just run along
that motion, John.
All right, so you're all going, yeah?
Yeah.
All right. So now they have gotten ahead of you.
Totally. I'll track them. I'll track them.
Completely. But please tell me we approach and they're fucking murdered. That'd be great.
I feel like you can still see them. They start they're moving ahead of you. After a little while, you catch up. The rear is brought up by the younger fighter Terran, who turns around and waves at you as you approach. As soon as you do, the captain turns back, looks at each of you, nods his head and says, "Right then, you're hired." And he clicks his fingers at Terran again, who says, yes, of course, hired. So that's got to be... He brings his bag around onto his front and starts to pull out little pouches. He throws a small pouch at each of you, one by one. It seems like it contains 25 gold pieces.
Oh my God!
Wow.
I am rich.
Hired, you say?
The captain says, right, so you hear a woman crying. I haven't heard it yet. Everyone give me perception checks again.
Can I have a reaction to him throwing money at my feet?
Oh, yeah, sure.
I look the rest of the group over. I am very okay with taking your money, but I have worked with, well, you before. Well, not you, but Rose God, and something I do remember is that if we are hired to you, how do you feel about this? And I look over at the rest of them that are with me.
I say, I whisper to Rin, is this a lot of money?
It's a lot of money.
I whispered that to Rin.
Yeah, I know, but I don't think she actually knows. I don't know. I guess so.
I don't know how this works. I suppose, is this a custom, some sort?
I think it's that we're being offered 25 gold apiece to potentially do something that could be worth a lot more.
Oh, well, is that normal?
I don't have an answer to that.
Captain, he's right here.
He's like walking ahead of you. Again, you guys have all stopped to discuss some fucking thing. And he's on task. Like, he's ahead of you. They're all three ahead of you. They're still like looking for stuff. They're like looking the ground. They're keeping their ears out.
I would like to join them, by the way. I would like to be looking around.
Do I hear the cries now?
I rolled a 5 on my perception. I'm not looking.
Drift rolled a 21. Everyone else, you don't seem to hear anything. Drift, you do not hear the crying. Nobody does. The crying appears to have stopped, or you're in such a position that it has fallen off in some way. But there is definitely no crying. However, Drift, you do see a little ways ahead of where you guys are. The captain and the other two fighters have walked past it, but just off the riverbank, sitting maybe like in the water a little bit, you see what looks like a boot, like a concealed underneath like a rock or lost behind a rock, caught in the water, and some of the foam is covering it. It's very difficult to notice, but you see a very small boot. Not a small boot, but smallish. A boot that would fit your foot, perhaps.
Me?
A boot that would fit a teenage humanoid.
Okay. I see this, right?
Yeah, you're the only one that sees it, somehow. Okay. Really wasn't that high of a DC, honestly, but you're still the only one that sees it. On a 21, you're like, it's right there. I see it straight away.
Where is this from us? Like, is it in front of us? Like,
you probably all walk past it, and then bam, you notice it. And everyone else just wanders past, and then like you just turn your head at the right time to notice that there is a boot.
Cool. Captain! Guys.
Yes.
Guys. A boot. There's a boot right here. I'm not gonna grab it or anything.
The captain immediately strides over and just grabs it and lifts it out of the water and holds it over to Terran. Is this one of theirs? Yes, Captain. I think it most certainly is. That doesn't bode too well. Why would they leave a boot behind? I fear they may have been captured.
Rin's gonna look at Eero and be like, should we go?
Like leave them?
Yes.
I don't want to leave them on their own. I don't exactly like this whole thing. Do you mean leave 19 drift?
No. Leave the situation. Drag them along. Isn't this what they were saying? If we see something, we can back away?
I mean, I'm fine with it. You're the one that had all this gung-ho opinion to go.
All right. Fine.
I'm back with the captain.
You've all been enlisted, by the way, just so you're aware. You have been paid. The captain.
If they die, who knows what happened here today?
The captain just throws the boot on the ground and says, well, I suppose we're on the right path. You're hunters, right? Any clues? What do you think we should do?
We're the best hunters.
Sure are.
You have nothing to worry about with this group back here.
Give me a deception
Nothing
check.
at all. I don't even know if I was trying to deceive him.
You're lying.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was being sarcastic, but yeah.
He sees through your sarcasm.
Oh, yeah.
And he says, You are hunters, right? Trackers? Of some kind?
Yes, absolutely.
Depending on the occasion?
Well, what do you hunt? Game?
What kind of game do you want to play?
No, like animals, deer, that kind of thing, or something larger, perhaps.
Like hags in the woods?
We recently killed a strange, large cat.
A large
Look,
cat.
he's still covered in the blood.
Yes, of course, the steaks. I should probably give you some money for those as well when we get back. Where could these boys have gotten off to? If they've been taken by something, shouldn't it leave behind tracks?
Drift, what are you pointing at over there?
He already picked it up. It was one of their boots.
A boot?
Yeah, something took him.
I really would like some more information on what it is we're looking for. I don't see any boot falls, any animal tracks, but that might not be a good thing.
Well,
Brad,
19 is quite good at determining those sorts of things, aren't you, 19?
Yes, 19, please.
Yes,
I don't like to walk blindly into a trap or a fight, you know. Usually I have rangers and scouts for this sort of thing. They're able to determine what it is we're looking for or what might be waiting ahead. I was really rather hoping that could be your job as hunters. You will, of course, be backup. I assume you can use those weapons.
Yes. Give me a moment. And as I say that, I'd like to have you, whatever check you want, I'm assuming you want survival or perception. I want to roll it.
19 has a big great sword on his back.
I'm gonna take out my loot and I'm gonna sort of start to tell like a little story.
Give me a survival check.
I'm trying to give him bardic inspiration.
Yeah. Give me a survival check. You can tell a story.
You're gonna play your lute in the middle of the woods when people have been kidnapped?
Of course. And I'm gonna play like a little inspirational sort of melody for 19. Once trapped in a temple, the bravest of all of the Warforged, 19 the glorious, 19 the brave, 19 will lead us to our destination. 19 is the one we can all put our hopes in. And I give you I just saw fat loot in the chat. Fat loot. I'm going to give him bardic inspiration.
You sing that song and 19 just starts walking out of the forest.
Give me
I'm just kidding. He doesn't do that.
Give me a survival check. You can use your bardic inspiration on this if you want. You have an extra d6.
Okay.
Or you can have it for 10 minutes.
Okay.
You don't technically have to use it. The captain actually doesn't seem perturbed at all by Iridir telling a story. He kind of just nods his head along, as if this makes complete sense to him.
Do I need to make the choice that I'm going to use the bardic inspiration before I roll or after?
You can make it after, before I tell you stuff. So yeah, you can roll and then roll the d6, I think.
Yes,
14.
I would like to use it.
All right, roll the d6.
Come on, baby, get a 6.
You got it.
Just do it. Hey,
all
that's
right,
great.
5. So in total, that's a 19. Can we get some 19s in the
Oh,
chat?
where am I at?
While me cranking, while me rolling.
So 19 begins like scouting the area. He gets low to the ground, looking around for any more clues that he can find. He does actually start heading towards the forest. The captain stands still and just lets 19 do his work, and he turns to you, Iridir, and says, I used to know a bard in Rosegard by the name of Aranus. Do you know him, perhaps?
Aranus?
Yes.
From Rosegard. It doesn't sound terribly familiar.
You would tell inspiring stories like that when I was training. It was often quite oddly useful. Oh, I wonder if he's doing well. Okay.
Oh, yes, you have to understand.
What did you see, 19? And he steps away from you and starts heading towards 19. 19. You actually look around. You don't find like boot prints or anything crazy like that, but what you do notice is that the area of the forest just ahead of where this boot was found, you see some broken twigs and some broken downtrodden ground, not like a boot print, but just an area that looks like it's been disturbed. You follow it a little ways, just a few feet in, and you can tell that this was relatively recently done. It's the only area that seems to be disturbed, and it also looks like it was disturbed kind of really obviously. Animals move through the foliage a lot more carefully than this. This looks like the work of something larger, like a human kind of just stumbling through drunkenly would make this kind of mess, and it leaves a relatively easy to track trail for you. It's not obvious, but you can follow it for sure. And the captain steps up and starts following you. Do you see something?
I found some tracks and trail mix. That's besides the point. Yes. I think we should head in this direction. He points in the direction that you were speaking of, Brad. Kind of explains everything you just explained to me back over to him. And as he does it, though, where's that real quick? 1 second here. Oh, yeah. I look back at my group, and there's any of you. I know, Drift, you might be able to help with this. Are you a little more... You understand the arts, arcanes, and so forth? Any of you? Drift?
What do you mean by that?
Are you covering what it is, or can we see it? Like, are you standing over it?
What do you?
Yeah. Did you
What do you
see
mean?
something?
No, he's just.
He's just asking.
No.
Okay.
I'm just asking a question to the group. Does anybody in the group, does anybody here basically know arcane, like high arcane, or know a lot about it? And I'm also asking the captain and stuff. Right?
Well, not really. It's not exactly my specialty.
You drift.
No, not. I mean, I know about it, but
The captain looks back at his two men and says, "No, none of us are able to cast magics. Some of my men do, but they're not here."
If you don't have any way to sense presence or of any kind of magic, or just to test to see if there was any magic around this area recently.
sadly, I don't.
Very well. Brad, I want to try to roll an Arcana check, even though 19 isn't that high, but he does obviously know some magic, even though he doesn't know how. I just want to see if the trail has... I don't want to do like detect magic. I want to see basically if there just like feels like there's any kind of magic source going on with anything that's going on with this trail or anything that's going on in these woods right now. I feel like I'm probably going to get a lot because these woods are probably all fucked up, but...
That's not really what an Arcana check does. It's
Okay.
what I have used it in the past to do that kind of thing, like a very
Okay, that's why I asked. I remember we
detect-
kind of did
detect
something like
magic.
that. I wasn't sure.
But technically, it's just more like a history check magic. You know, like, does this spell do this? And in Fractured Worlds, we did use Arcana as a low ball detect magic thing.
Yeah,
But
'cause it wasn't really-
in this, you'll need a detect magic spell or something similar. If you see something that's very overtly magical, you could roll an Arcana check to try and determine like what the fuck it is, kind of thing. But since you don't really see anything magical, you're just kind of sort of trying to sense the presence. I don't think you'd be able to. In terms of what you actually see, there is doesn't look like there's any magical stuff going on. You just see a very obviously disturbed bit of trail. A trail that you can follow, and it's not like an obvious, like, you know, like a thing, like just, there's an obvious like line of disturbed foliage. It's only really noticeable by you. You'll see a twig here that you can follow, and you'll see some of the ground disturbed here to push through. It doesn't, I guess it doesn't really look too magical to you, I would say, because you've already rolled a decent tracking check. It really does look like a couple of people moved through here. Really, that's it. I don't think you know like if they were forced or how many necessarily, but not too many for sure. No one was like dragged or anything either. It doesn't look like that. It looks like people walking, just disturbing.
I would just say at this point in time, then 19 just stops talking and starts following the trail. Like he just very like almost like a beagle when they get a scent, just starts going.
Yeah. The
19?
yeah.
Let's follow him.
Oh, Captain,
Yes.
I think 19 found something.
Yes.
Fuck
We should.
do we doing this shit right now?
We should follow him then, if he's the tracker. We really are not quite the ones for this, are we, M-Stride? And he gives him a hit on the chest. The captain starts to look a little nervous too. M-Stride looks like Zangief and doesn't look too nervous on his face, but he has spoken and you know that he's like freaked out. The other fighter is behind you. He's doing it on purpose because he's like bringing up the rear kind of thing. But who do you think is last if we were to do an order here? Who would be next to this fighter at the back?
Probably me.
Iridir.
Yeah.
So this final fighter is called Terran. He did say his name. The captain said his name earlier on. He looks a little younger, in his 20s somewhere, and he leans in to you, Iridir, and says, "We saw something, you know, in these woods a little further in while we were looking for those orcs, like a
What did you see?
floating fiery thing."
Floating fiery thing.
It doesn't sound scary, I know, but well,
It sounds terrifying.
it was just floating in the air, and we thought, oh, it's okay, that's perfectly normal, isn't it? And we carried on walking, and then there was 2, then there was 3, then there was 4.
3?
Yes.
Why do you keep increasing the number?
Oh, they kept appearing, and one of them overtook one of our men. It was terrible, truly terrible. He ran off into the forest screaming, and we never saw him again. I really hope we don't see those things. A woman crying, you say? I don't hear a woman crying. He is petrified. You don't need an insight check. So you got these two that are these two clinging to each other at the back almost. He's doing his best in his big chainmail. These three guys don't look like they were. They're particularly good at moving through the forest. This doesn't really look like this is what they were sent to do, but they are moving a little more. They're just following. They're following. They're all following 19. You follow this trail for a little while. Everybody's got their eyes peeled and looking about, listening for this crying sound. Maybe about 10 minutes pass of you following this trail 19. There's a couple of points where maybe you lose it and then you find it again. It takes you relatively northwards, as far as you can tell. It's a pretty straight line, straight shot north. You eventually you come to a more hilly area that leads upwards. The trees disperse a little bit, enough for the sort of daylight to pierce through the canopy of this sort of very not particularly dense forest here, but enough that it was covering some of the skylight. And the hilly area leads you to the entrance of a small cave. As far as you can tell, this is where the trail ends, because you've been using the foliage to track it. At the entrance of the cave, you can very clearly hear the soft crying of a woman echoing outwards. It's very clear. It's creepy. It's very obvious. Once you get to the cave entrance, I think everyone can probably see it. But yeah, 19. The captain steps up next to you and looks into the cave and says, "Well, now I hear the crying."
Yeah. Well.
Yes, you do. Gosh. I feel like you're going to tell me no on this, Brad, but I'm going to ask just for the 50-50 chance you might tell me yes. Can I make a history check to see if I would have any clue what kind of crying this is outside of just a woman? Like if this would tell me anything about like banshees, any shit like that.
If that's possible, I would also like to see if I could, but using like, okay, in a cave in the middle of the woods, like, is there any mythology or any stories that we've heard?
Yeah, I feel like it's fair. If you want to roll a history check or even a nature check, I'll allow it. But I think you probably have disadvantage because it's just crying that you hear.
Would I have just a regular check, Brad? Out of curiosity.
Oh, great.
I'm going to say no, but that alone probably gives you a little clue. So
disadvantage. So you want
disadvantage.
Roll it again. I got a 2.
15, baby.
15, 2, 4. Iridir 7. I'll roll some bullshit for these knights to see what they get. Dude, these suck.
Great. No! Hopefully we don't fight anything.
We're in it now.
2 3s and a 1. They haven't. I don't think they've rolled anything above a 6 today. So let's see. So the highest in there is a 15. So for the record, again, when we do these like double like history or nature, depending on which one you roll, depends on the answer you'll give or the context, I guess. Most of you have no idea, really. Like, maybe you've heard, like, silly little spooky ghost stories and stuff, like, oh, crying woman, blah, blah, blah. But I don't think you would be able to go, that is a banshee, that is a blah, that is a blah, that is the boogeyman in there. There's no way. Drift.
What is crying like a baby?
A 15 on a history check.
I'd be so scared.
When you were a boy, let's see.
Oh, God.
Let's see here. Let's see. When you were a boy, in
like boy, like
an actual little boy back at home in the town of Kilosh, with your family, there was a story that was told of a woman whose children were murdered during the war, and when the woman, she was a mother, The Alexandrian forces invaded the town. In your story, the town was Killish. It was your town.
Right.
There was a story of a woman, a mother, in the town of Killish. When the Alexandrian forces invaded, they ceaselessly killed her children. She went on a murdering spree. She was a docile sorceress that drew on this wild arcane fury and began sort of ceaselessly killing Alexandrians in the area. She was eventually stopped. Supposedly she took a bunch of light crossbow bolts, loads of them, 15, before she was stopped. The squad that stopped her apparently went missing. The villagers at the time claimed that they heard a woman crying on the wind for weeks after her death. And it was just this terrible, frightening ghost story that was told.
So can I have sort of like a PTS, like a moment where I'm just like, oh man, and I just relay this story to them?
You remember
this not to freak you out, guys.
Child story of a woman that became known as the Enfeared. It's a spooky story, just like we would tell a story of like, oh, there's this spooky story of this woman known as the Enfeared.
Yeah. So as I remember this, I started off with like, hey, not to freak you guys out or anything, and I tell that entire story just before we go in, and then as I finish, but I don't want to freak you guys out or anything. I just remembered that.
The fighter that is scared.
Scary story type. Sorry.
Terran, the fighter that is scared, is shitting himself now after you tell that story. With the crying woman at the cave, he's holding
him like.
Yeah, he's like holding on to you, like the captain is giving him filthy looks and he's still not letting go. He's like holding onto your arm, Eero.
No, I mean, don't be scared. I just
don't be scared.
I don't know if it's true or not. I think it's
Hold on.
Horrifying.
There's no reason for us to enter this cave.
Exactly.
There's no reason for us to go after any crying woman, hurt or not.
Yes.
I hate to say that, but we can enter this cave, but it is all on our choice, Captain. I know what you're probably feeling right now is that you feel like it's your duty. But, if we're being honest, we have no clue what we could be walking into.
The captain is pulling out his sword. He's already pulling out his sword. He pulls out his sword and says, "You're right, it is my duty." He says, "I've never really liked dealing with the undead, but if that's what's in there, this child's story, then so be it. Either way,
it's undead?
Well, if it's a ghost of a woman, then that's likely what it is."
As he said, he
Are
thinks
you a religious man, Captain?
The captain turns and says, I am now. I am today. He holds his sword.
As that's all going on, you see 19 put his hand by his hip where that gem's at, and you see him kind of like start doing this by his hip, and as he's doing it, you see like light start coming out of it, and then he eventually like pulls this huge ball of light out, and he's holding this big ball of light as he casts light, by the way, Brad, and he goes, undead. If that's the case, then we must go in. There's a reason 19's all about killing undead.
The captain's legit freaked out now. He's watching 19. He kind of glances over at the others and says, right, so if we're going to do this, we're going to do it right. If it is an undead of some sort of ghost, spirit, I'm really not too familiar with them, though I have encountered a couple. Does anybody use magic of any kind?
Well, yes, I use magic.
I use magic as well.
I would recommend you use it on the creature. I've always found that a blade, basic iron and steel, never cuts quite as deep as it should. He turns to the other two fighters and says, we're all going to have to do our best. I suppose, Emstride, you want to lead the way? Emstride turns and says, on your orders, Captain?
I will go with you in the front.
Emstride nods his head towards you.
Before we go, Captain, I'm sorry to ask you this. Does anyone have just a little healing potion or something?
Oh, that would be great.
I would just, I'm just, man, just a little sore.
Roll me a d20.
Shit.
Jesus.
What did you roll? A 3. Terran, the guy with the bag. So M-Stride and the captain don't have like any bags on them. They have like a little maybe small pocket with some shit in, but really nothing. The M-Stride, the Terran, the younger fighter, is carrying the bag. He pulled the money out of it. He brings his bag round and starts rummaging in and says, no, unfortunately we used them all on the civilians in the village, the wounded.
That's all right. You wouldn't happen to have any extra weapons, would you?
Weapons?
Yes. Rin has been
Literally
using my
anything.
dagger for some time.
See if they do have extra weapons.
Anything simple would be fine.
Well, I guess Terran turns to his side and brings out a short sword, and he has a spear on his back, and he holds both of them up.
I'll take the spear.
Okay. He hands you a spear. You can add a spear by dragging it into your equipment on your character sheet. It should do.
God damn it!
It should do all your bullshit together. The captain says, "Of course, if this is just a woman crying, don't storm in and attack. It could very well just be a crying woman. She could have fled in fear from the town. Let's not all get spooked out by a child's ghost story."
No, listen though. How far have we walked into the woods, would you say? And Brad, do you know about how far we would have walked in the woods? Like literally potentially miles wise?
I don't know.
We were at?
You've done a 10-minute into the woods, maybe a 20-minute total journey from the bridge where the river was. So
like a mile and a half?
Yeah, a mile.
I look at the whole group, including the captain, and I go, I'm holding that light, because I'm not going to lie, as soon as you said undead, just imagine that 19's amber eyes are enormous. He looks at the group and goes, do you think that if this was a regular woman, that we would have heard her crying about a mile and a half back?
No, definitely not. It's a horrible creature.
It's a good point. Unless, of course,
why we need to make the decision if we're going in here or not, because I can tell you right now that is no woman.
Ahead of us, you know? But you are right. I've heard terrible stories too. I'm just saying, if it is a woman, don't go launching fireballs at her or anything.
Well, here is the thing. I think it is to be known now that I almost feel like I can guarantee this is no human or woman. We heard the cries from well over a mile away. This is obviously some sort of lure, which means if we go into this cave, I'm telling you all right now, we know what we're walking into. So not only should we be ready, but I think we should rethink one more time, because I'm trying to understand this from all of you. If we go in there, we are going to be fighting something. It is obvious. Or I could be wrong, but I doubt it. And he kind of he looks up at the rest of them with a really strong stare, because he's being very serious. He's just this is probably not a fucking
the captain has already pulled his sword out, and he's motioning. Well, you're the one that wants to fight an undead, right? If it's not undead, you've got M-Stride there to back you up. And of course, we'll be following. We have seasoned fighters, yes? He looks at the rest of you and Terran.
The captain following instead of leading?
Well, M-Stride is our vanguard, always has been. And your man here wants to lead.
If we're all making this incredibly stupid, horrible journey into this cave, then
it is incredibly stupid. I agree with you.
We should all be aware of each other's capabilities. That's all I'm saying.
I am honestly agreeing with him. This is not a good choice to walk into this.
Then let's leave.
We have no choice.
The story freaked me out, okay? I forgot about it, and I remembered the story, and I'm freaking out a little here.
19 is in such a cool position right now because he doesn't really want to go in, but because he thinks there's undead in there, he wants to go in. But if everybody decides not to go, he's not.
The captain's shaking his head anyway. He says, "Nope, we're going in. If Amiel and Jothan are in there, we must look for them."
That, I take the light and I give it to what's his name?
Enfeared, yeah.
Enfeared. I literally like put the light like in his chest, basically.
Yeah,
so
his chainmail lights up.
Oh no!
I also take my shield out and my sword. Like,
he
my tower shield.
He looks down and says, "Yes, we should find the boys. We have to find those poor boys. The boys, right? Okay. I'm ready." And
I can create illusions. Perhaps we can make some sort of trap.
He's straight up ignoring Iridir. He's psyching himself up and like banging on 19's chest. Yeah, like okay. The boys.
Who's got this?
We
Don't
can
worry.
save the boys.
I hit him on the back.
Yeah. He starts striding in. The captain turns to you, Iridir, and says, "Right, illusions, is it? Get them ready then.
Yes.
Bring up the rear. Taryn."
They won't make much of an effect if they're cast after the fact.
M-Stride is walking in.
Oh my god, we're
19 going to Captain in the center, followed by Drift and Rin, followed by Terran and Iridir.
All right.
You guys start striding in straight away.
We're in it now.
Where's Vertigo right now?
The light is shining. You guys, as you start heading into this cave, can hear that soft crying again, and you hear something else as well. You hear the sort of voice of this woman as she says, "My babies, why did you kill my innocent babies? Why did you kill my innocent babies?" And she continues to cry, and that's where we're going to go to our break.
What?
Oh my god!
And when we return, we will find out what is in the cave. Thank you very much for watching.
Perhaps some sort of gate.
Perhaps.
Oh my god.
Honestly, it's probably just a woman crying, and we're just gonna help her out and get some experience.
Why did you kill my baby?
Crying.
Yeah, we should help her out. Should create the illusion of her dead babies alive and well. Thank you. You're welcome.
What
they were
great
lost.
Idea. Let's find out if that works after the break. Okay. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. See you in a few minutes. See you in a few. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the stream. It's us and Tiger Writer, who's going to suffocate live on stream in front of us, and it's going to be utterly horrific.
Please take it off.
You live alone, right? You can't fuck around with that stuff when you live alone.
I have a dog right here. My dog will save me.
Hey! Then you have an anxiety condition. You don't fuck with this stuff with anxiety conditions. Stop. What's the point of an anxiety condition if you're not afraid of everything? All right, thank you.
I'm not afraid of a bag that I can pop.
Yeah, well, you should be.
For the views.
For the
Trying
views.
to make this show popular.
It's true.
What is this, huh?
My dog would save me.
All right, listen. You guys walk into a cave.
Oh my god.
Are
Back in the cave.
Are you excited to walk into the cave, everybody?
I am.
No.
Only if there's fire pouring out of it.
So,
Oh, maybe we'll see Hasmel again.
There's
you walk
fire.
into the cave,
Fuck.
and in front of you, you see
Are you playing this?
you see in front of you a very terrifying sight.
No.
When you walk in, you hear that soft crying of the woman. You hear her saying, "Why did you kill my innocent babies?" It's pretty dark in here, but there is a source of light. Partially coming from the front of the party here, you see the cave open up. It's a relatively large cave, but it just opens up immediately onto the source of the crying. The cave itself is maybe like 100 feet across, but for the most part, it's just a gloomy, dark cave. There isn't really much in here. There's no like bones. There's no like terrifying thing necessarily. Well, there is. There's one terrifying thing. You see at the center of the cave a sort of ethereal shape. It is the ghost of a woman in her 40s or 50s. She's sitting cross-legged. Cradled in her arms and across her lap are the bodies of two page boys in their teens. Their skin is very pale and cold. They appear to have some sort of necrotic burns to them. The crying woman does not appear to see you at all, even though you guys make a decent amount of noise at the cave entrance. Stride, the captain, and Terran all have like greaves on and boots, and there is just this crying woman, this sort of ethereal shape. The bottoms of her her kind of robes that she's wearing are flowing outwards, kind of wispy like, and she does give off a decent amount of light, this sort of bluish cyan glow, and she is just crying, holding these two page boys. She doesn't notice any of you. As soon as you walk in, the 19 next to you, Stride stops. His sword kind of lightly hits the ground, and he sort of becomes stopped for a moment, and he looks backwards. The captain pushes forward and leans in and says, That's them. This isn't good. I think." And he looks over at Stride. Stride looks back to him and nods his head. Right.
Wait. Let me. I can get her attention, and then you can run in.
What?
Do we want her attention?
No, we should leave.
He turns to 19. You are an expert with the undead, no?
Can I make a roll to see if I'm an expert with the undead, Brad? Because I'd love to get a 20 on it. That's really all I want to try for.
This is weird because it's a proficiency in.
And I asked this actually just because I'm still trying to figure out like religion type stuff, right? For the character and all that kind of shit.
It's sort of a proficiency in religion. It's also just a proficiency in your class, because your proficiency with the undead does come to you. You are already proficient by being a cleric, but whether you know that, I don't know. So I think you should just roll me a d20, honestly.
Just d20?
Yeah. This is to see just how aware you are right now.
Just give me a 20 so Brad can make a decision. 14.
14 is high enough to know that the things you know, at least, about your class. I don't know what you have at level 2, honestly, as a cleric, but do you have turn undead? Because that's probably the first thing you get.
Okay, so we were talking about that before we started the campaign. I have guided strike right now, but I swear you were talking about some ability. I think it might have been turn undead or something that, like we were talking about how it doesn't really do anything because it affects undead. Was it guided strike we were talking about?
5e. Let me see.
Because guided strike affects undead too, doesn't it?
No, I don't think so. Guided strike just gives you a fucking plus 10 to your attack roll. I think that's all it does.
Yeah, we had something we were talking about way back before we started the campaign that he was going to have, because we were talking about an ability or something like that I could do, but it wouldn't really matter the majority of the time unless something was undead.
Channel Divinity at 2nd level.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, you do have turn undead. 2nd level. So as an action, you present your holy symbol and speak a prayer, ensuring the undead... Oh, censoring the undead. Each undead that can see or hear you within 30 feet...
Let the chat real quick
must
too.
make... I will give you this in a sec. Must make a wisdom saving throw. If the creature fails, it is turned for 1 minute, or it takes damage. A turned creature must spend its turn trying to move away from you as far as it can. It can't move closer to you. You kind of just make it frightened. So, what I'll do...
Thank you for that, by the way.
It's alright. I don't know why
I
you
knew
don't...
I had something.
I don't know why you don't have it. There you go. I'll send it to you on the thingy chat, and we can add it later on. So just put that wherever you want for now. So you do have that. It consumes your channel divinity. Remember, you only have one of these channel divinities. I'm gonna give you
Term undead.
a map here.
Oh God.
There is the Enfeared, and these two bodies, and she's there. So in terms of where you guys were, it was because I just kind of threw these on. It was something like this. All right, let's see. We can probably say you look something like. I'll put you guys up a little bit, just so we can see him on the stream. So, Iridir, you're kind of like pushing forward with some plan here.
Yeah, I'm. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cast minor illusion, and I'm gonna create 2 small boys. I guess that probably look like toddlers or something. That are just wearing like shabby-looking kind of clothes.
How strong is your minor illusion though? Because this is a 5-foot cube, right?
It's a 5-foot cube, yeah. I don't know what you mean by strength for it. I mean,
like, how intricate can you really make these look on a cantrip?
I can create an image. Yeah, it's just
an image.
Yep.
Okay. Well, okay. So you're gonna make 2 squashed-looking boys.
Well, with toddlers, 5 feet's pretty big for kids.
Okay.
I feel like they could easily fit in a 5-foot cube.
I'll allow. I was just checking.
Yeah, they kind of walk in, and I look back, and I just kind of say, "Mommy, mommy."
Give me a performance check.
Oh God.
Wow.
Are we backing out, by the way? Like, while he's doing this, are we leaving the cave?
I'm gonna give you 2 child illusions. In fact, I'll just give you this. You can
11 on the performance check.
you can control this child.
Mommy.
You say, "Mommy."
Yeah, I can do it up to
And
30 feet away.
The Enfeared, this ghostly woman, she's crying again, and she looks up towards where this is, and you can place it wherever you want. You should have control over that token in front of you, wherever you are.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out 30 feet. I guess somewhere like over there.
What is your spell save on that?
My spell save, I think it's 14.
I mean, like the DC, yeah. So I can.
Yeah, it's a 14.
14. And an 11 on your performance check. The illusion of these kids appear in front of where you guys are at. The ghost in the center of the cave looks up directly at this thing. This illusion of this child, and she cocks her head to one side. She stops crying for a second, And she immediately snaps her head to the left and just looks at you. You're all within line of sight of where she is. And
oh no!
She just freaks out. She immediately, instantly, you see her swell. You see her swell in size. She goes from being kind of normal size to much larger, and her eyes sink into her face. She lets out a terrifying scream, which I'm not going to attempt, which echoes around the cave. Her hair lifts up about her wildly. These hollow eyes where, or these hollow spaces where her eyes were fill in, and then this maelstrom of sort of the ethereal wisp that was underneath her just grows, and she screeches once again, "Why did you kill my baby?" And I'm gonna need some initiatives, please.
Oh fuck!
It was a good attempt. I will tell you this though, Whack.
God damn it!
She rolled a 15 and a 12. A 15 on the investigation for the illusion, which is 1 above what she needed, and a 12 was just an insight on your performance check to see if she could work out where it was coming from, which is hysterical. That was 1 more than she needed for each.
It's not funny, Brad!
It's hysterical to me. You get to fight the Enfeared. Let's roll some initiatives for everyone. My God. Amazing. Congratulations, Enfeared. All right, let's roll for Stride.
So I'm starting to get the poo-poo cake feeling again, that even though I have a good initiative, I still always roll like shit for initiative.
Yeah?
I really do. I've always, every time I've ever played D&D, even in like the throwaway game.
Oh, this is gonna be nuts!
This really sucks for you guys. Stride rolled a 3. Captain Stone Sworn rolled a 1.
What?
And then Taryn has rolled a 17. Oh wait, where did
there we
I
go.
did these
Taryn's a
twice.
beast, dude. Taryn's a beast.
Stride, Stone Sworn, and then you roll these. Okay.
Game time! Enfeared rolled a 22?
Yeah. Whew. Okay, so the Enfeared goes first. Again, she screeches and it echoes around this cave, and she just starts like heading towards you. The oh my God, that freaked me out so bad. My dog just moved the curtain at the other end of the room, but I can't see the bottom half of it. I just saw the curtain move because he's like looking out. He never looks out that window either. I was about to end the stream and cry. Okay, she's here. The Enfeared is here.
Monkeys.
All right, so let's see here. What can you do, Enfeared? First of all, I'm sorry, chat, if I fuck with the map too much. Let's see how far away y'all are. Ooh.
We're real far. Real
far.
Like unreachable, you might say.
Yeah, she's just gonna fucking. She's gonna move. She starts like gliding towards you, across the map here. She's just moving towards you now. This wispy underside of her is like moving towards you. The captain immediately just says, "To arms!" and he starts to like move forward. The form of Terran is still gripping onto you, Iridir. Ever tight. He is unable to speak. But that brings us to Rin's turn.
Let's
Rin,
go!
First of all, Rin, please make me a wisdom saving throw.
Oh God.
Does this thing have legendary actions?
It does not, but you are any creature that starts its turn within a certain distance of the Enfeared.
Okay.
Sorry. 8 is a fail. Let's see here. So,
Fuck!
you make something happen. First of all, you are also frightened.
Oh no.
The thing, as soon as it is like moving towards you, just terrifies you, Rin. You have the status frightened, which means that you have disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls while the source of your fear, which is the Enfeared, is within sight, and you can't willingly move closer to the Enfeared.
All right.
But the rest of your turn, that was just a thing that triggers off on your turn, and you can do whatever you want now.
Okay. Well, I'm terrified. Can I back up out of sight, like around a corner or anything? I guess I can't move anywhere closer to her, and the only way out of sight is away out of the cave, right?
This is out of the cave, yeah.
Oh God. Okay.
Let me know if you leave the cave. You may leave the cave.
Man, we should really leave the cave, but that's okay. I will actually just see if I can duck down around, I guess, and kind of. I want to put my back to the wall, I guess, so I can't see her anymore.
Yeah.
And I think I'm gonna cast my unseen servant.
Okay.
Which is gonna take some time. So I'm just gonna do that with my back to the wall.
Oh, you have to do that as a ritual.
I think so. Yes.
That's 10
it's
minutes.
actually a cantrip, but
That's yeah, it's 10 minutes. That's
10 turns.
That's 60 rounds.
Oh, 60 turns, yeah.
what?
That's 60 rounds, 6 seconds a turn.
I don't think it is a cantrip. I think it's I think what you did is you accidentally took a cantrip, a first level spell instead of a cantrip. So I'm allow it.
I thought it was a level 1 warlock cantrip, but maybe not.
It's
Cantrips are level 0.
no, I don't think it is.
Level 1 is not a cantrip.
Yeah, level 1 is different to a cantrip. Cantrip is a just endless small spell. But
yeah,
you've done it so many times now that you basically have instead of a cantrip, what you have is the ability to cast Unseen Servant as a ritual. That is what you can do. So whatever it is, but that is it. So, but it still takes you 10 minutes to cast. I think in the first fight you did it, but that was just my own mistake. Technically, you can't do it from now on.
Kujio, that's wrong. It's just, that's not correct.
Don't worry about Kujio, okay? Just leave Kujio to do his thing. Just leave him alone. All right, Whack? You're just bullying him at this point.
Remember we read this last time? Cantrip, no. Like, it's not a cantrip.
It isn't a cantrip. Like, it is.
It is not.
Duration 1 hour. Cantrip, no. Cast time 1 action.
The class that we picked said we could take a level 1 warlock spell and use it as a cantrip. It's a homebrew class. I can link it to you later, Brad, but that's okay.
Okay.
I like this rule. It makes sense that it would take 10 minutes. It's a freaking ritual.
I still don't see why. I mean, even if you cast it as a cantrip, I think it would still take 10 minutes to do.
I think so too.
Because it would still be a ritualistic cantrip, I think.
Like, I needed things with it. Like, it gave me rope and candles.
I know.
It doesn't happen instantly.
You got some funky shit going on, so it's cool. But I think it would still be 10 minutes either way.
I think so too. So I would still like to do that. So wait, that's 60 rounds?
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
Okay. Okay. Then I will. Oh, geez. I can't go close to her. I can't do anything. I don't have any magic.
You can stay right there.
Yep, I'll stay right there.
You can do stuff like dodge and help and stuff, but I don't think much of it is gonna help in this sitch. You can ready an action. Like if it comes at you, you can try and stab it, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay. That's all I can do.
All right.
I think.
Terran is terrified. He also has to make a whiz save. And wow, he actually makes it.
Let's go!
You know what? All right, he makes his whiz save, so he is good. And you know what? I feel like he just goes crazy and just starts running in.
Let's go, Terran!
Terran is the type of person he's that guy in the scary movie that just goes and just runs in. He has that short sword. There's no way you can make it all the way, but he is going to use the dash action to run up next to the Enfeared.
Oh my god.
Basically, throughout the next 6 seconds, Terran is just going Captain Stonesworn immediately just goes, Terran, and he's gone. He runs. Drift.
All right, so it's loud in here, right? We heard that scream. It's echoing. So I'm just gonna be like, I've heard stories about you, and I'm sorry about this, and I'm immediately just gonna throw out a Eldritch Blast.
Okay.
And going to try and push it back 10 feet.
Okay.
Good luck, good luck, good luck.
Oh man.
Give me oh man, we need the attack roll.
Oh, whoops. What the heck?
Wait, hang on.
You got to click it from the core page, not from the spell.
Oh, good call.
Yeah.
Thank you.
In the middle box, yeah?
There it is. Here we go. Normal roll.
Bam!
Whoa!
24 is a hit.
So, hand out, boom, big hit, and 5 damage.
Bang! You just it keeps fucking coming at you. You do hit it. You see like a lot of those like ethereal wisps just like pushed off of it by this force, and then you're trying to push it back 10 feet as well, yeah?
Yeah. It automatically gets pushed 10 feet.
And you do 5 damage to it. All right. Anything else? You moving?
Puny
Oh
human.
wait. Give me a whiz save. Sorry.
No! You forgot.
Yeah, I did.
Sorry.
Forget, but
All right. Yeah.
doesn't matter.
Okay.
I'll allow. If you fail, then you don't have disadvantage on this attack at least.
Whoa!
Did you roll? Oh, whiz save. Yeah, you made it. So yeah, you are not frightened of this thing. You are also immune for 24 hours to this thing happening again on your next turn. Okay.
Awesome. All right. But I don't know this. Like, my character does not know that. Like,
no,
it's not like
mechanically you are immune to this. This is called Aura of the Enfeared.
Great. So after that, is there anywhere, Brad, below us, like 3 spots below us? Is that out of the cave? Like, there's no like cover or anything at all?
Let's see. No, there's no cover. You can go into the cave to try and find some cover, but 3 spots below you would be exiting the cave, yeah.
But like, what if I exited the cave and went right around the outside? That's like me standing. You know what I mean? Like, I run out and I'm like around the outside wall.
Yeah,
Around the outside.
You'll find out what happens if you want to do that.
No, I don't want to do that.
Okay.
Especially when you say it all scary like that. Let me just see if I have any where I want to move real quick. Now I want to do it because, oh shoot. Sorry, I'm drawing. How high up are these ledges?
Like 5 feet. They're not ledges, really.
Okay. I'm gonna get out of line of sight. I'm gonna go right up here. I'm gonna jump up here.
Okay.
So you just see me like jump up on that edge.
For sure.
And just spread out a little, just in case this thing's got like a crazy blast.
Acceptable.
Great.
19.
The first thing 19 does is looks at the whole group and goes, yes. And he seems like he's acting a little bit different. And as he does that, you just see him go, should we? To the guy, what was his name again? The big, huge motherfucker?
Stride.
Stride. Do you scare easily? He's got like his sword and his shield, like kind of like ready.
Let's find out. Stride does look terrified, yes. He's holding a great sword, a little smaller than yours, and he's big, and he's not even looking at you. He's just standing there like, ugh, ugh. Let's find out if you scare it easily. Give me a wisdom saving throw, please.
I have cannon if I fail this, by the way. 9.
That is a fail.
He says that to him. He like has his shield. He gets ready to start running for it. And he goes, oh. Ooh.
God damn it.
Oh, yeah, just...
He just kind of sits there for a second.
The Enfeared. Everyone give me perception checks.
What? Oh my... Oh, Eero, yes!
23. Crit.
I got a 4. Drift.
Rin got 18.
The Enfeared grows in size.
Oh God.
It's pretty hard to work out what's going on because of the chaos. Drift, you're not noticing it. 19, you're not noticing it. Iridir and Rin, you'll notice that this thing is growing in size over time, over these like beginning few seconds. As it comes to the center of the cave, it begins to swell in size. As everybody starts to get frightened of it, it's growing and growing.
I yell at Rin, grab the boys and let's get out of here.
Okay, I will do that. I will absolutely do that.
19, it is your turn. You were frightened, so you can't move closer to the thing, and you have disadvantage on attack rolls and stuff against it.
Would that mean I'd have disadvantage on like the thing, not for now, but in general, like the turn undead shit, all that kind of stuff?
I don't think so, because that requires it to make a save, which isn't the same as disadvantage attack rolls. It's attack rolls, ability checks, and your own saving throws, I think. You have disadvantage on.
So 19 kind of looks over him as he says that, and he's like, "Oh, are you ready?" and everything. And he kind of goes, "Ugh." But like the fear gets him, right? But he's like kind of weird about fear still. He like doesn't completely understand it, but he goes, "Oh, she must be doing something." And he says that, and as he does that, he grabs the gem in his leg and pulls it out of his leg and puts it up in the air like fucking He-Man. And he starts casting, and he starts doing turn undead on it. And it's just like, "You will not take me." And
go!
It has to turn undead on it, and it has to make the save for the wisdom.
No, it doesn't, because you are 60 feet away from something that needs 30 feet to cast.
Okay, so it does have. Okay, awesome. I love doing that banter of something being really cool, and then I never heard you say anything about 30 feet.
I feel like probably what's happening is you're casting it, but you can't move closer to the thing. You're like trying to walk forward, but for some reason you're just too frightened to do it.
So are
you're
we using that
magically
as my
frightened.
one channeled ability then? Is that what's going on here?
I mean, I don't know what the official ruling is. Like, probably people would make you consume it, but I think your spell just doesn't go off. You can do something else instead.
I would assume then that he's just doing it that like the gem lights up and he just kind of looks at it, like pulls it down in his hand and goes.
I feel like you stop casting it because you can feel that you can't move forward.
Yeah. And he shoves it back into his thigh and goes, "For another time. Until then, I want to ready an action to defend myself."
In what sense? You need to tell me what
if it comes at me and it tries to just literally swing at me or anything like that, I want to be able to have my shield ready.
All right, so if it comes near you and you can hit it, you're going to just smack it. Yeah? Mm-hmm. All right. Mm-hmm. Nice. Iridir. My dear Iridir.
Okay, I'm going to say, we need to get out of here very quickly. We need to grab the boys.
Grab the boys. What are you talking about? The dead boys? The page boys?
Do we know that they're dead?
They look very dead to you. You don't know they're dead though. When you walked in, they looked. Their skin is pale and cold, and they have some like necrotic burns to them, kind of looking like some blackened marks and like not quite fire scorch marks, but kind of.
Can
like,
I roll a check on my action to determine if they're alive or dead?
You can. Let's see. Actually, are you within the range of this thing?
I'm not super
you
close.
are. Give me a whiz save first. Sorry.
Okay.
Please. I need someone else.
That's
a fail. You can roll a check as your action to determine whether the boys are alive for sure, but you will have to do it with disadvantage, I think. While the thing is within line of sight, yeah. So you can make me a medicine check, I guess.
Was the birthday inspiration a lie?
Let's find out. Yes.
All right. You said a medicine check?
Medicine check with disadvantage, yeah.
9.
You are unable to tell
my
from
God.
this distance. There is also a giant, great big, shadowy, monstrous thing, which is swelling in size in front of you and screeching, and
God.
it's very difficult to make out. They look super dead. They very much look dead. They're very cold looking, pale skinned, but you cannot tell without getting closer, for sure, whether they're dead or not.
Okay. So then I
Yeah.
will. I can't get closer to this thing, right?
Nope.
Okay. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move here then.
Sure. This is disgusting line on my.
Maybe
Matt.
here.
I'm sorry. I don't know how I couldn't get rid of it. Sorry.
Yeah,
I
maybe,
literally.
maybe I'm just way like in the back there.
All right, you're at the entrance of the cave. The warmth of the exit of the cave. There's nice sunlight. Feels so good. Feels so nice and fresh and.
Does it, Brad? Does it?
Like it's not terrifying and horrible to be trapped in this terrifying cave with this terrifying ghost of a
Does
woman.
it, Brad?
Stride has already made his wit save because I made him do it before and he failed. And he says, Captain, the boys are dead, we should leave. The captain says, no, Stride, they might not be dead. Move, fight. Stride stands in fear. Actually, can Stride do some other bullshit? He can't move closer. He goes...
When does he make the wisdom save? At the beginning or end of his turn?
At the beginning. He did it on 19's turn because 19 asked if he was frightened, so I just thought I'd jump ahead. But he failed. And I made the captain do the same thing his next turn. But he says, well, I'm not going near it. He throws his greatsword down and pulls out a heavy crossbow and just fires a random crossbow bolt, which is in fear at the Enfeared. Actually, I think that hits. Good lad.
Let's go.
I don't have a D10, so I'm going to roll it in here. Is that it? Is that all you get? Yes, it is. Okay.
Oh my god.
1 damage. He
What the f? He could have done 10?
he pulls out a heavy crossbow and just you see the crossbow bolt just pass as if it does fuck all through this ghostly woman. It just comes out the other side and pings off a back darkened wall. And he begins immediately just like pulling the putting a new bolt in and pulling the thing back on the crossbow bolt. Oh, on the crossbow. Captain Stonesworn. Let me just quickly check. When do you do this? Oh, nice. Okay, so he is just going to run in too. He
passed his wisdom?
In. He did, yes. He's just running up.
Yes!
Captain Stonesworn also has a great sword, and he just goes running in. Like, you guys are all freaking out, running around. Terran's running in, but slowly, and the captain runs after him. He barks his orders at Stride, he barks his orders at Terran, brings out his greatsword and swings it twice. 1 hit.
Let's go!
2 hits. That one's a crit.
Whoa!
You know, fuck this thing up.
One hell of a captain if I say so
He
myself.
goes crazy, yeah. He just goes running in. Let's see. So that is...
Get it.
No,
Get
wait.
it.
Hang on. Am I counting this up right? 2... Yeah. 6d6. Plus
Wait,
6.
what?
I think that's what he does, yeah.
6d6.
Oh,
26 damage?
Wow.
He just goes in
Which
like
is-
anime style. His like cloak behind him. He just goes striding in. The sound of his greaves on the floor just dum dum dum, and he just goes woof.
We're not fighting this guy.
Hello, Captain.
And he just starts.
Good lord.
He just starts smacking this thing up. The thing kind of watches him, and even though his sword is like passing through that ethereal wisp, he's hitting this thing and he's dealing some damage. But it doesn't look like the damage he's doing is right. Like he's not cutting it open like it would cut open a bear or a fucking animal or something like that.
Definitely doesn't have any sort of silvery look to
It's
this weapon
almost
at all.
no, it does not. It looks like it's made, unfortunately, out of iron and is non-magical. I'm sorry to tell you, but he deals some
Technically,
damage
you
to
wouldn't
it.
be doing any damage to it then, is that right?
No, he's doing damage to it. He's just not doing enough.
Probably like half.
This thing has resistance to non-magical weapons.
I've never gotten to like scrump down on the idea of ghosts and like if you heal, like, because Whack made fun of me earlier when I asked.
Healing the ghost.
He's doing damage
like,
to it.
If you heal it, like technically that would be doing damage. He's like, this isn't Final Fantasy.
You can tell he's doing damage to it because the Enfeared is like screeching at him and looking at him, and like the sword bites as it hits, but it passes a little too quickly through the thing. Okay, let me just check.
Oh god! Here we go.
What it can do. All right, you know what? This thing's gonna move here, and it's gonna fuck some bitches up. It's gonna make its first attack against the captain. Brings up these huge, like, ethereal claws. As it brings them up, you can see each claw on its left hand has a black smoke coming off of it that looks kind of strange as it brings it down. It's like it cuts through the air with like a black line. It brings it towards the captain's face, and on his like second swing, he ducks underneath it, and it passes over the top of his head. His head. It's not his heads. He hasn't got two heads. He is not a Hydra.
Yet.
The second claw swings at Terran, and that's going to hit him. Where is all my dice?
What color would you say Terran's outfit is by chance? Does he have like a red? Is it red in the top region?
Yes. Well, yeah, they all have red on them. They're Rose Guard. He's the same. They're all dressed the same.
We're getting out of here.
You got red on you.
What am I missing? What's the meme here? The blood.
Sorry, you got red on
Red
you.
does not watch Star Trek.
Oh, get out.
Yeah, he's a red shirt.
Yeah, I don't either.
He's a red shirt. I get it.
I don't know. I was just with Shaun of the Dead over there.
He's a blood.
Let's do some damage here. Bam. He takes 10 damage, and
ouch.
He makes a saving throw, a con save, which he passes. Okay, so Terran is gored by this second claw that comes in. It kind of just stabs into him. You see the hand doesn't have that black kind of mist around it. This one, it just stabs into him, and he just he drops his sword, and then it pulls the thing out, and he just has these like 4 huge wounds as if he's been stabbed by a bunch of like spears. He grips his midriff and just falls to the ground, just crying. He's alive though, barely. That marks the end of the Enfeared's turn. Rin, you may make a wisdom saving throw.
Pass it right here, girl. Pass it right here. Yes! Yeah.
Yes, you can. To try and end the effects. Yeah, you break out of the frightened status, and you're able to move, and you don't have disadvantages and stuff like that.
Wonderful. I'd like to leave the cave.
Okay.
I'm leaving.
Rin just bails out.
Yep.
Cool. Rin, I'm gonna put your character like here, but you are not here. Rin just is gone.
Yep.
Terran is on the ground. Terran's just gonna lay there and do nothing. Drift, it's your turn.
Excuse me, goodness.
Okay, do I notice? I wouldn't notice Rin leaving, huh? From where I'm standing.
I doubt it, no.
Yeah, all right. Well, then I'm still in the fighting mode. I can't even speak, man. All right.
You could do it. I believe in you.
Yeah, I'm just going to. I'm just trying to think if I saw anything. Did I see 19 by chance? Try and cast a spell, but it falls short. Would I know that it's because he's not close enough? I just don't want to meta this. I don't want to meta this, so can we do it?
Arcana check.
Arcana check, thank you.
With disadvantage, since you're not a cleric.
Okay.
And I don't think you really know any.
15!
You have known a cleric in your time.
Let's go! Okay, so I'm gonna cast, I'm gonna do another Eldritch Blast. I realized that he couldn't do the spell that he wanted. Eldritch Blast at him, and I'm gonna actually pull him closer, 10 feet closer to us this time. so he'll be able to use his spell.
Great idea.
Maybe it is, maybe it isn't.
Yeah,
God damn it, I missed.
You launch your Eldritch Blast, but you just miss. This thing is huge in the center of the room, and it just you just see it launch past the
you can't hit it.
Enfeared. You can move or do a bonus action.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump down from here, just because I feel like I'm too out in the open. Just down to right here, right to the right, and then I'm gonna realize, like, where's Rin?
She gone.
And that'll be my turn.
19. Give me a whiz save. See if you can break free of the.
I would like to do a whiz save. Please let me pass it so that I can turn this. That's the best. Come on, the wisdom.
Can we get some tables to buffs in chat, please?
Bill Cosby did it once, so can I. Come on.
Oh wait, no. This is. I'm doing
22.
this. I'm doing this incorrectly. You're actually frightened until the start of your next turn, and then you make this. You make the save again because you're not immune. Do you know what I mean? So, technically,
I pass it this time.
you are no longer frightened, and then you pass it this time, and now you're immune. So, yes, I remember now. I remember why I made this creature this way, which I made. I made this creature. That's why I don't know what the hell is happening, and that's why Whack has no idea what it is. Whack's like, what the fuck?
Nothing does this in the fucking monster manual. I'm from New York.
This was
Oh my God! This is impossible. How can it do this?
Real quick side note to that, we were listening to Gilbert. There was an hour of Gilbert Godfrey laughs on YouTube that I tried
Love
to make.
it.
You watched the whole thing?
I tried to make them. People were mad.
We watched a 10-hour paint drying thing once on my stream, which was a great time.
What?
That's how stupid they are, idiots.
So, so 19. The first thing he does is he looks back over and he goes, "Oh, that's a nice crossbow."
M Stride is just standing there, just loading it. Aren't you supposed to kill these things?
I feel much better now. And he goes, "Let's try this again." And he grabs his hip again, pulls out this gem, puts the gem in the air like He-Man.
Please step
if I
forward.
remember correctly.
Please tell me you're stepping. Yeah, okay.
I checked it before, but I was like,
Alright. Oh yeah, it moved. It moved. Yeah.
Oh shit, I drew that line. I'm so sorry, dude. I don't know how I'm doing that.
You ever draw a line again? I'm gonna draw a line through your character.
He grabs the gem out,
God.
puts it up, and as he's got it up in the air, he looks over at the other, the scared guy, because I don't know. I'm very curious how this would react. So I guess it's up to Brad probably. But be prepared. If you can, you should go grab those boys.
He's saying it to M-Stride, yeah? He's just loading his hand. Yes, okay.
Pay attention.
He's trying.
If this works, and you can hear me, grab those boys. Captain!
Yeah, Captain's in there, just anime flips around the fucking ghost.
He just says, "Be prepared to grab the boys," and he does it, and like the gem just like puts a light in the room that's so bright that it lightens the whole room, and it hits him. And now I'm not going to do any more things.
All right,
until
yeah.
you-
So the Enfeared makes a Wisdom saving throw. Yes, that is a 14. I don't know what the fuck it has to beat. Wisdom saving throw.
It's not against my spell
Each
saving.
undead that can see or hear you within 30 feet of you must make a Wisdom saving throw. If it fails its saving, I assume it is against your spell save. So what is that?
He beats it then because I have a 13 spell save.
Oh my God!
That consumes your channel divinity. Remember, you have a thing on your main sheet.
Yep.
That on the core part that tells you about that. And you do this thing. The ghostly form screeches at you, as if this fucking light hurts it or this holy light injures it in some way, but it doesn't affect it. The fury of this poltergeist-like woman keeps her from being turned.
When the light does that and it hits the poltergeist and it doesn't work, he instantly knows it doesn't work, and he just kind of like, you almost see like 19 almost looks sad, and he kind of comes down and he goes, "Oh." He slaps it back into his hip, He grabs his shield back up. It's kind of stuck into the ground, and he's kind of holding onto it. He grabs it, pulls the sword back out of the side with the gem and the sword. Emstride, it didn't work. And as he says that, does Emstride respond at all?
Emstride is still trying to fuck with his crossbow. He's really kind of like way more interested on the like chaos of this thing in front of him. In fear.
I run right up to it, and I'm going to try to attack it.
All right. All right. Well, you have it on your next turn, right? So.
Wait. So does the Channel Divinity take the whole action? I assume.
As an action, yeah. You can do a bonus action if you want.
Oh, okay. So I can do a bonus action. Okay. Well, if that's the case, then I thought that it was just a totally different action to it, which is my own fault. I won't be moving then if I can't attack him right then and there.
Okay. No problem.
Other than that, I'm just gonna if he comes at me again, I'm gonna ready the action to smack him, even though I can't because I can't ready an action because I did an action.
You just stand there, preparing to run in. Irritated.
That threw me out. This is my first time playing a priest.
That's fine. Yeah.
Wisdom saving throw.
Yeah, please. Yeah, you're no longer feared, but will you continue to be? Let us find out.
Please
right
pass
now.
it. Please, we need you, Eero.
That's a critical fail.
Let epic fails.
Join me, Eero.
Thank you so much, Eero. The Enfeared grows again. It swells in size.
Yeah. Since I got a critical fail here, I'm gonna bolt.
Okay. Yeah. You just run out of the cave. No problemo.
What is going on? I just see like.
They just bail out. Okay, so that brings us to Emstride, who must make his own whiz save. Go on, the boy. He hefts up his sword and says, "Right, okay, let's do this." He looks at you, 19. Let's do this the old-fashioned way. He goes running in with his sword. And he's gonna
Let's go! Get another 26!
I'm trying to hit it twice. One hit.
Yes,
one
another
miss.
hit. Okay.
One hit, one miss. So, let's see.
3d6?
No. He did not crit.
Oh.
He gets one hit of 6.
Oh, man.
He goes running in, and the I guess he's probably standing here somewhere. He runs up, brings his greatsword across the front of the Enfeared, brings it across again, and like the wispy chaos that is the underside of this enormous thing now. It's kind of looking like Ursula, right? Growing with all this wispy underside. Her hair is floating upwards. He just kind of catches some of those wisps, but it doesn't seem to do any damage to this thing. Though he does now, basically, Emstride and Stonesworn are just wildly swinging at this thing, just doing their best to just cut at it to the best of their ability. So I'm going to roll for the captain too. One miss. One hit. Oh, actually, one hit? Or nay. Or nay. That is a hit. Just about. So another hit here. You know what? Bam. 10. Same thing. These guys are just hacking away at this thing in front of where you guys are. The Enfeared is going to attempt to attack one each, with the first strike going towards the captain again with that kind of dark attack. That one is a hit. I have to roll on this. I don't know where I put all my goddamn dice. 12 damage to the captain. This one finally strikes him. You see the captain kind of swing a little too high. The Enfeared brings that claw down. It breaks some of those chainmail chinks, and ping, ping, ping. Psh, you see some blood spill on the ground. The captain just carries on as if he hasn't been hit by nothing. And then the second one comes down towards Emstride. Emstride brings his head back in a kind of like Kylo Ren way as the claw comes over the top and misses him. Rin is outside the cave. You want to run back in? Okay. Terran is on the ground.
Oh my god!
Does nothing. Drift.
Yeah!
Your turn.
Another Eldritch Blast, buddy.
Go.
Going right at him. But I'm not pushing or pulling. I'm just gonna leave this little shit where she is.
That's a hit. 7 force damage. You see her eyes flash towards you as the Enfeared is hit by this sort of explosive force. Parts of this wispy ethereal form are just dispersed, and she lets out another terrifying scream. She's basically screaming. This is like fighting a poltergeist, right? Rocks and shit are floating up around the room and that kind of thing. And she's just screaming at you constantly. She flashes an eye at you, but she continues to deal with the two that are at her feet, whatever they are.
Okay, since I can hit this from so close, just for safety, or actually I'm gonna call over to 19 real quick. Just a little word. 19, they left. Are you leaving too?
No.
Okay, perfect. And then I'm gonna just run back, sort of towards this like corner of the cave, just so I'm close to the exit, just in case this thing blows up or anything like that.
Yeah, okay. You've been burned once. 19, your turn.
Did 19 see that it grew larger?
Yeah, I think everyone can see that it's growing larger now. Yeah.
Okay.
I think for sure by now you would have noticed that it's much larger than it was before.
The first thing 19's gonna do is yell to the captain. Captain! Oh, as loud as he really yelled.
He's fighting this thing, but
you need to leave. It's like very obvious at that point in time to 19. We need to get out of here. You need to disengage. Grab the boys and leave, or don't grab them. And I'm just yelling at him as he's fighting. And after he does that, drift.
Yeah.
Did you see that get bigger?
It's huge!
Did you see it grow low? Or are my eyes deceiving me?
Did I see it grow, Brad?
Yeah.
Yeah!
Captain, you have to back out. We cannot stay here to defend you. And as I say that, 19, as he's walking, let's see here. Yeah, as he's walking by drift. We need to get out of here. And 19 leaves.
Okay.
What the fuck?
19 leaves as well. Let's see here. Okay. Iridir is outside the cave. You coming back in?
I got a natural 1 on my fear check.
The giant form of 19 comes running out too. Just dong, 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 dong.
I am booking. I'm booking.
Yeah, okay.
I'm running, man.
Yep. Stride. Swings at this thing once.
We got this.
Twice.
Time to get some experience all by myself.
This is gonna be 14 damage. It hits twice. Stride hits this thing twice. So it's actually halved. So Stride and the captain do their same thing again. That's a hit. That's a hit. Good boys. So it's the same roll. Bam.
Nice.
10. So, all right. The captain and Stride turn back and see them. You guys running. Roll me a persuasion check, please. 19. Just because you were trying to persuade them to save the boys and leave.
15.
The captain, Stride turns to the captain and says, "Maybe we should do what he says, sir. This thing, he said he understood what it was. He understands undead." The captain says, "Stand your ground. We will not leave these boys. What if they're still alive? And what about Terran?" Terran is on the ground, just blood pouring out of him. He says, "Stand your ground. We're making way." And he cuts again, and the two of them just start hacking away at this thing. They stand their ground. Rin is never coming back, I assume. Terran is on the ground. Drift, it is your turn.
I won't leave you guys! And I just, my left hand, right hand, left hand, I'm just in it. I'm lost. Literally, my eyes go bloodshot. I'm just like in a rage of just like, I don't know why. but I can't go anywhere. And I need this, like, I'm just Eldritch Blast. Because I have no spells left. Or I have one, but I'm saving it for an oh shit moment.
Which is now, darling. That oh shit moment is right now.
I don't know. I just can't. We're fighting. Here we go. Ah! Oh shit.
8 is a miss. Just the Eldritch Blast launches off a ways. 19 is left. Iridir is left. M-Stride and the captain. Let's just fucking roll all their things. 1 miss, 1 hit, 1 miss.
Am I outside with them?
1 miss, 1 hit in that whole fucking thing. You are, but we are not on your scene, so you can't say anything.
Brad, before you say anything, I want to be at the entrance to the cave. Literally, not where they are, but literally 1 step out. Okay?
Yeah.
Just 1 step out.
Yeah.
Just
Wait, 1 foot out of the cave or not?
No. 1 foot is not out yet.
All your feet are in the cave?
All my feet are in the cave, gladly, stood solidly.
Okay.
I've never seen John act like he really doesn't want to say that as much as I decided to say what he just said.
He's baiting me, man.
That is a miss on the first claw. Again, this thing is just wildly swiping at these. So this fucking thing is a maelstrom in the center. The captain is just swinging at it. M-Stride is swinging at it, and it's swinging at them. It misses its attack on the captain, but it hits its attack on M-Stride. They're actually doing the same amount of damage to each other, but M-Stride has to make a con save, which he makes. Very good lad, but he does take 13 fucking damage, which brings him to that amount, and that brings us to Drift again.
Yeah, another Eldritch Blast.
Nice, that's a hit.
God damn it, 3 damage.
3 damage on this thing.
I don't care. I'm part of this.
Yeah. M-Stride. That's a crit. Miss. Attack. That's a hit, and then a miss. So a crit. I can just roll this like this. Hang on. That is.
How much HP does this thing have?
That amount of damage between the two of them, just spamming their attacks at this thing. The thing is screeching and swinging at them again.
Okay, Brad, can I ask you something? Am I noticing anything happening with this creature? Like, is he still getting bigger? Is any changes happening?
Give me a
or do
nature.
I have to use a trim?
Give me a nature check with disadvantage.
Okay, real quick. Nature, disadvantage, submit. 8, solid 8.
You have no idea what the fuck is going on with this thing.
Great.
M-Stride takes another 10. And then has to make another con save. That is a pass again. Brings us to Drift.
Another goddamn...
Wait. Did you skip me? Because I will do something this time.
What are you doing?
I'm going to try to go in and grab Drift. I'm going to grapple him and drag him out of the cave.
No! I will not let that happen!
I'm going to try.
I will not.
I will
not let that happen.
Right, Rin appears behind you, Drift. Grapples you.
No! Stop!
Give me an athletics check, Rin, and Drift. You can do an athletics or a dexterity or an acrobatics check to try and stop Rin's grapple.
I would like to do.
You gotta be.
I don't know what's better. I don't know what's better for me.
So it's athletics or acrobatics.
Acrobatics is probably better, huh?
All right, roll
acrobatics. Oh, please don't beat me. Let's go!
Oh my god!
You go to grab him.
Skip her and throw her out of the cave. 20 feet, Brad.
No, you can't push her. You did an acrobatics, which means you're like a bar of soap. You just jump out of her arms and run away.
No, Drift, we have to leave.
Rin, we're not leaving them behind. We said we were going in with them. Nothing's safe. Life isn't safe. And I'm going to cast another one.
All right, yes.
I've gone crazy. I've gone full-blown fucking crazy.
Do it.
Eldritch Blast.
Yep.
Hit.
It's a hit.
8 damage.
Oh, is it a hit? Yes,
17?
Yeah. 8 damage.
Yeah.
Nice. This thing lets out a terrifying screech. That one hurt.
Oh man.
Brings us to M-Stride. 1 miss, 1 hit. And then the captain, 1 miss, 1 hit. So that is...
Dude, the whole group's gonna come in trying to pull me out. This is crazy.
All right.
Little kid.
Here's what happens.
Oh shit. Are you serious?
Drift, you let out an eldritch blast. It hits this thing and it kind of knocks its head back, giving the opening for Captain Stone Sworn and M Stride to just slice through the center of it each. Both of their swords collide with it, your force damage hits it, and the thing just shrieks one last time before it explodes into just mist. Just complete mist. The thing is... The Enfeared is destroyed. You hear one last screech before it is gone. And the thing is destroyed. M Stride stumbles forward and drops his sword.
Just out of breath. I fall to the ground, dude. I fall to the ground.
The captain immediately turns to Terran, who's screaming, and puts his hands on him. M Stride, check on the boys. And he starts to, I guess I'm going to make a medicine check for the captain. He holds Terran, and M Stride runs over towards these boys. Bam, bam. Checking them over. He looks at them and says, they look cold, but they're warm to the touch. I don't think that they're dead, but they're certainly injured. Perhaps we should get the clerics? The captain says, he turns back to you, Drift. Do you know anything of medicine?
Nothing. And I sit up, but my friends outside do, and I look back.
Do you think you could carry one of these boys out of the cave before that thing comes back?
Yes, I do. I'll run over.
Are you sure, Drift? Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. And I just run over to them.
Yeah.
Brad, before I grab them, can I check them?
Yeah, give me a medicine check.
Cool. And this is just things I learned from my sensei, oh my god.
Oh, my stream's lagging.
Uh-oh.
I don't know why.
Buffering real hard.
Yep.
Stream. Come back, stream. Come back.
Oh, not now.
Emma?
Oh, fine now. Emma, stop watching that Netflix.
She's on Netflix.
Babe.
No, she's probably watching this. All right, so you run over and try and do a medicine check to see if they're alive. To you, they look super dead. They feel warm to the touch, but they look dead. They don't look like they're breathing.
Okay.
But M Stride picks one up.
How tall are they compared? I'm 5'2", so is this gonna be nuts for me?
This one is about the same height as you.
Oh, cool. All right, so I can handle that.
Give me an athletics check.
Okay.
See how easily you deal with it. You guys, you struggle. You lift him up. You're picking him up awkwardly. You're probably doing more damage.
Ow. What kind of armor do you guys wear?
These boys aren't wearing any. They're just page boys. They're just servants.
They don't have armor on? That's crazy.
M Stride just says, no, leave him. If it's too much, they could be injured.
Oh, I will go over and I'll pick him up.
All right, between you and Drift, you pick up the second boy.
Thanks, friend.
Stone Sworn picks up Terran and says, okay, hold on. And then he begins to stride out towards the exit of the cave, where we end today's session.
Oh my
God.
Thank you very much, players.
Holy shit, dude.
You kicked so much ass.
Dude, we went nuts. I was so...
I totally would have stayed if
done.
I didn't get a critical fail.
Good RP, Wack. Well done. You get an inspiration point.
Which is also a lie. Inspiration is a lie.
He does for his birthday.
I'm putting it down.
You can have an inspiration point. 19.
Yeah.
You get an inspiration point.
Okay.
PB. You get an inspiration point. For good RP, what you don't get is XP.
Is XP.
Yeah.
Do I get fat experience? Am I level 3 before they are?
Drift gets to share the XP with Mstride, Captain Stonesworn, and Terran.
Yes.
And I'll calculate it in a minute. First of all, let's do a little round of shout outs.
I'm level 3. No matter what, probably.
I'm pretty sure you are, yeah. Unfortunately.
Ding! Oh, I miss World of Warcraft when you say that. Ding. Everyone in shout. Just ding. Congrats, dude. Congrats.
Yeah, let's start with Drift, the hero of the day. The poltergeist slayer.
Yeah.
Let's do a round of shouts.
You will never see that in any of my streams. Literally, if you come watch I am terrible at video games. So this moment to have in D&D is like 1 in a million. Like, that's probably why I subconsciously stayed, was because I just don't pull off the win usually.
You role played your character.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like that's exactly how Drift would have acted. So GG.
Yeah, no, it was super fun. Thank you guys for watching.
Argue that it's detrimental to his health to stay there, and that was totally an RP choice. Very inspiring.
I mean,
he gets XP. You get the consolation prize of an inspiration point.
Thanks for trying, dude.
For RPing and foregoing the XP for like running out of the combat, you get the inspiration point. He gets the fat XP and level 3 boost.
Fat XP, level 3. I'll take it. I don't need inspiration. I'm good. But yeah, thank you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and definitely check me out. Streaming like 5 days a week. I do YouTube videos daily as well. So just John Sandman on any of the platforms. You'll find it. And thanks for watching. Seriously. God, honestly, the best thing in the world that keeps me going is like looking at chat and just seeing people like, you got this, dude. Like, even if they know I might be dying, they're like, I know it's so lame, but like, I'm like, yeah, I do. Like, it's like, not meta. I don't meta it, but like, I love that. So thank you guys.
Let's come up with a title for Drift. Like, the creature that you killed was the Enfeared. So I want to make you like the feared. I don't know.
The Inferior.
Yeah.
The Inferior.
The fear.
But I think if anyone,
if
you come up with a really good one, drop it in the Discord channel for Darkfire, and I'll look at it. If you do it in the chat right now, I probably won't see it when I want to see it in the week, when I start prepping for next week, when Captain Stonesworn and Mstride lift him onto their shoulders and give him the title. I don't know.
Yes.
Let's go.
Probably the way it will happen, but first I need to get everybody back to the town and stuff. So that is not priority 1. But no doubt they will give you a dumb title or a good title.
Cool.
Depends on what chat gives you. Next one, who fled the cave? Who fled last? 19.
Mm-hmm.
Where can people find you, Mr. Tiger Rider?
Tiger Rider, thanks for coming out and watching the show. I really, really, really enjoyed that episode. So thanks to everybody that came out to hang out with it and watch it. I full-time cast here on Twitch as well, Saturday through Wednesdays. I start right around like 5. Well, I have been starting actually at like 3 p.m. PST, but I'll be starting actually tonight right after this. So if you guys are bored and you like Mega Man, I'm actually going to be trying out the new Mega Man. We're just going to be hanging out. So if you want to come say hi, do it. I got a Twitter and an Instagram. It's Tiger Rider TV on Twitter, and Instagram's just Tiger Rider. Come say hi if you want to, or just go follow my channel just because you come, but you just want to follow anyways because you like following. You know what I mean?
Hells yes. Cool. So next on my list here, who went out before that? Iradir.
Hey everybody, I'm Wax Steven, normally the DM of Doom.
Wack is gonna do a second announcement at the end where he lists all the upcoming shit. Because I'm not gonna do it. You're doing my shout out.
Okay. Thanks everybody for watching.
I just wanted to end on that. In fact, we're coming to you in a minute. Shut up.
Oh.
We're coming to you in a minute. No, because the thing is, we have so many new cool things and all this stuff, and I want it to be the last thing that you hear before you go away.
Brad. Just fucking go, next person.
It's important that you hear that last, right?
I love it, dude.
Because Wack will do it better than me. Listen, it's a weird, twisted compliment because I know I'll fuck it up and I want Wack to do it because he is a better presenter than me. Trust me. It's true. PB.
I feel it.
And to Wack. No, I'm kidding. Hi. I'm Pumpkinberry. I like narrative games usually. I'm here twice a week, soon to be here 3 times a week, at least for a little bit. So yeah, you can check me out on Twitter and also in the Discord. Take that test. Tell me what you got.
The
That's
test.
it.
All right.
The test.
So, the creature, the Enfeared, is I'm going to put that on the Patreon at some point. It's a homebrew creature that I made.
So cool.
It does a couple of things that it didn't really get to do, but every time it actually fears someone, it grows stronger and gets a +2 bonus to its AC.
Wow.
For 24 hours. So if it had going into that with more people is kind of more dangerous, because if it manages to infear all of those people, it would be crazy strong. It gets stronger the more things that are
What's
afraid
it starting
of it.
age?
So I didn't know that was it. I thought it was the more people that were feared, which is actually why I left the cave. I was like, oh god, I'm terrified. I can't do anything. I have 5 hit points.
It doesn't drop its AC for 24 hours. It becomes that strong.
Damn it.
It feeds
The
off
only
of the
reason
fear.
that I left the cave was because I got a natural 1. I was actually, if I was not feared, I was going to grab the kids and run.
Yeah. Yeah, fair
That's
enough.
what 19 was in between before he left. He's like, do I do it?
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know. That thing might blow up.
So wait, can I ask real quick? Why were you scared? Is there a creature that gets bigger, blows up, like in D&D, like in well-known, like undead?
No, but in Final Fantasy,
Okay.
that's what the bombs do, and they've been doing that too.
Yeah,
in
they
the
do. And that's
thing.
exactly where my brain was at. I was like, this thing will blow up. It's going to eat my
it
face.
was more just my own. Like, you don't have to do that if you run this creature, people of the world. But
I
it was
assumed
just
that
my
you
way of-
modified a banshee. That was my thinking. And
Yeah,
I was
that's what I thought too.
It's
we need to separate right now. Like, everybody needs to spread the fuck out.
It's a little bit like a nerfed banshee with its own bullshit that it does. There's also a creature from the Tome
TPK'd
of
a party
Beasts.
with the banshee before.
Yeah. It's a banshee is CR4. This thing is actually only CR3, but it's a heavy CR3. Would be a way to put it. But the I looked at a banshee and I looked at a creature which I think was called a Darakul, I think, from the Tome of Beasts from Kobold Press, and I looked at those and then went away and made up my own thing. Aura of Enfeared and Enfear are like my own bullshit, and it's got one of its claws is just a necrotic damage and one is a paralyzing claw, but it didn't paralyze anyone. It's a bit rough. It's a rough fight if you don't if it gets strong. Because a lot of it, but its AC is only 10 at the beginning, and its HP is only 78 roughly, depending on how you roll HP. So it is completely doable, but it's sometimes, I mean, depending on what happens and how many people it fears and stuff, it could be really rough, or it could be a lot easier. I think you kind of got it midway. I think its AC at the end was 16. So that's that. That is a creature that I will upload to the Patreon under the because we have a tier that you can support on Patreon where we throw out roughly 6 creatures a month that you can download and look at. This month we have some. I don't really know what month we're in. I get really confused with it because Whack deals with it. But next month, I guess this will be in that one, which is October.
No, I mean, I'm still doing this month.
Oh, this is this one. All right, so it'll be November's one. This will be in there. Unless actually I could probably swap one out and throw this in. Whack might be better. Who knows?
Okay.
We'll deal with that another time. But this is a creature that you can get on the Patreon. Also, the Cannibalized campaign, the part of a campaign that you can download from Patreon that we throw up is the fire dungeon from the first few episodes of this. It's changed a little bit because that was very homebrew designed to be part of Darkfire and my setting, so I made it a little more generalized. It's a lot more of a simplified thing so that you can take it and slip it into your campaign anywhere. But that fire dungeon is available this month on the Patreon under one of the tiers under Cannibalized campaigns. So this creature and the dungeon, we got some Darkfire shit basically is what I'm saying on the Patreon. That's the end of my bullshit. Wax Steven, tell us all the shows.
Sure. So obviously, guys, we got a lot of shit coming up. If you're keeping tabs on everything right now, on Sundays we've got Spark of Eternity, which is D&D 5th edition. On Tuesdays we've got Darkfire. On Wednesdays coming up, we're starting. It's Wednesdays, right? Did we decide on Wednesdays or was it Saturday?
Wednesday 13th. right?
Yeah. October 13th, we've got. No, that's Saturdays.
Oh, it's
We're doing
Saturdays? I'm so dumb.
Yeah, Saturdays.
It was Wednesday, but
Yeah, we changed.
We had to change it.
So Thursdays, we've got ragtags. Fridays, we got Identity Crisis, and Saturdays coming up, we've got Stygian Gate starting October 13th. Starting October 15th, we have the Judge Dredd campaign.
Yes!
Starting up.
Wait, what?
Judge Dredd.
Shut the fuck up.
Judge Dredd starting.
You already got people for that shit?
Yeah.
Fuck. Let me know when you do it again.
And yeah, it's gonna be pretty hype. I guess we can do a cast announcement now. Let's do a cast announcement now. How's that?
What?
Yeah.
Be a special guest sometime.
So we'll talk about that, Tiger. We'll talk about that. I am the DM. We've got Brad. We got Jay. We have Zagonicus. We've got Katie Peters Plays, and we've also got Tashnar.
That's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people, and yeah, it's pretty hype. I'm excited. I can't wait. We got a lot of shit coming up, guys.
It's an
So
actual
stay
Judge
tuned to
Dredd
all the
system
things.
as well. It's not just like us homebrewing a thing. There's an actual system for Judge Dredd which has been built. So
It got funded in 9 minutes.
It got funded in 9 minutes, and it's
on
something
Kickstarter.
like
9
it's
minutes.
at something like $100K now, which is pretty crazy.
It's over $100,000.
Yeah.
What the hell?
It's
Wait, what?
Sick. It's sick.
Yep.
What is it called though? I don't want to say it wrong.
Judge Dredd in the Worlds of 2000 AD.
Worlds of 2000 AD. There you go. Yeah, it's like
It's created by Morris, the guy that created the What's Old is New RPG, and it's the same system, just with the Judge Dredd tweaking.
yeah, it's sick, and I can't wait to play it. I'm gonna play the most annoying character. That's
Honestly,
because I'm allowed now. I can play an annoying
heard
little
of Judge Dredd.
shit. Really? You never seen the Dredd
Jesus
movie?
Christ, John.
Nothing. Never seen
I
it.
love John.
How is that possible? Yeah, it's crazy. Okay.
You're in LA, yeah. He lives in LA. You've never seen Judge Dredd. It's so weird.
That was a lot of shout outs, and I'm sorry if you get bored about shout outs, but we have a lot of new stuff coming. We're at a turning point for a bunch of random new things happening, and also all the Darkfire stuff is on the Patreon this month. So if there was ever a time to support on Patreon and you like Darkfire, well, now would be that time, because I put so much effort into it. And it's a waste of time if you don't download it. Okay, so go and buy it and download it, and run the dungeon, and tell me how you thought the dungeon was, and use the Enfeared on your party, and tell me if anybody got wiped out by it. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next week. Where Drift will be level 3.
Yes.
I'm stoked, man.
Ding.
I feel so much healthier.
Peace out, everybody. Whack out. Bye.
Whack out.
Whack out. Oh wait.
Mwah.
Goodbye.